Welcome, one and all, to the 208th episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast, featuring myself, Ben Manning, alongside my co-hosts, Brian T. McClure, Ronnie Neopoulos, and Sparks.We. Today, on this fine, beautiful Sunday evening, we are going to be talking about DC FanDOME, a whole lot of trailers, and Ben's love of frickin' sports because his favorite football team won today. Hallelujah! How's it going, gentlemen? How are you this fine, beautiful Sunday evening?
I'm really good after your little whoop.
I forgot that we had the
I
intro.
also forgot.
I cracked up so hard.
I'm doing better than the Lions, Ben. I'll say that. How about that? That's
the
a
Lions
sports
lost. I'm going to assume the Lions lost today, right?
Yeah.
Real quickly, I just want to say, guys, this week we passed 100 subscribers on YouTube.
And this video will be our 200th video.
Wow.
Wow, that's so much shit.
Damn.
Yeah, we were because of that, because you guys did it. We don't need any more subscribers. Thank you. Goodbye. No, because you guys did that.
More subscribers.
But we were able to change our YouTube channel's name to www.youtube.com/c/Fake Nerd Podcast.
Instead of 6549 HTMLG969, because I don't want to remember that.
Right.
That's not fun.
Now just there you go. Type in Fake Nerd Podcast, you'll find our channel, which is awesome.
Bing bong. I love it.
We did it. That is step one. Step one. We made 100 subscribers. Step two?
Well, actually, that would have been what? Step 5?
In
the journey of the podcast?
I was doing the underpants gnome joke from South Park, where it's like, step 1, underpants. Step 2, get underpants. Step 3, step 4, profit.
Never going to find out what step 3 is.
Never going to find out. No idea.
Good.
All right, who wants to go first with their week?
It's going to be... Oh, no, Ben, you go. How about that?
Yeah, I did jack shit this week, to be perfectly honest. The only time I was actually productive was Friday and yesterday and today, because not a whole lot of media consumed this week. Did I finish Korra this week? I can't remember. No, I don't think I did. I finished it last week.
I don't know either.
Did you finish Korra?
Yeah, I mean, I finished Korra, but I can't remember if it was this week or last week.
You finished Korra this week.
Yeah.
Because you talked about it last week, yeah.
Thank you, honey. I also started and finished Agretsuko, the anime on Netflix about that awesome little red panda who is a cute Sanrio character, but she freaking loves death metal. It's a really good season. Highly enjoy it.
There's a comic book out now.
Yeah, there is a comic book out now.
I didn't realize it was that popular. That's dope.
Yeah, and also, fun fact, friend of the show, Ben Lepley, the voice of Dedue, who I interviewed a while back, he is a voice and a prominent character on that show this season. So good on you, bud.
Getting paid. Good job, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you about his character because when his character shows up, damn. Besides that, I organized my comic books. I took that long box of comics that was in the garage out of the garage and was trying to organize it. I got some more boxes. They're a little bit more organized now. My main one with all my old Archie Sonic and Archie Mega Man books is still a cluster shag, but at least I have a short box, all my X-Men and Star Wars books I need to still go through and organize. Most of my DC stuff. I took some stuff off my bookshelf and put those into storage, and I hung up some books. If you saw my Instagram story, I hung up my a bunch of my variant covers, my San Diego Comic-Con covers. And,
yeah, like the movie inspired ones.
Yep, I hung those up.
Those are all awesome.
Oh yeah. So I was finally able to hang some stuff up, and today was just I went through more stuff, cleaned the room a little bit more, and also was constantly trying to see if the Raiders were going to win, which they did, because I don't have cable here at my house, and I can't really stream the game because there's a bunch of different streaming laws, and it's messed up.
Yeah.
But I was my mom was over. We went out to get coffee and visit, and also so I could give her a coffee mug back. But I'm just trying to find a place to listen to the game on my phone. All the stations that said, yeah, if you live in the Los Angeles area, these are the stations you can listen to. No, you can't. They don't play the football game, even if it's out of market.
Oh.
Yeah, but luckily they have an app. I was able to listen to the last 3 minutes of the game. Raiders won. First win.
The last 3 seconds. What a game.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the score. I knew who was winning. But besides that, that's awesome. Also, the Dodgers won today. We put the hurt on Houston, those cheaters. So I'm in a very, very happy mood.
I'm glad, Ben.
I'm glad.
And also,
we played some video games together.
Yeah, we played some video games together. I got comics, and also a random act of kindness was bestowed upon me on Friday. I went to the comic book store, and they had this. It's the free comic book day version of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.
Cool.
And I saw a gentleman putting it into his bag. And I asked him, hey, where'd you get that? Oh, it's over here. We walk over there. There was not left. Apparently, he grabbed the last two and didn't realize it. So I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. So I'm about to pay for my comics. And he's like, you know what? Nah, here you go. He gives me one of his copies. And of course, we talk about Zelda for a little bit before I leave the store. And it was very nice. It brightened my day up, which, to be perfectly honest, Friday wasn't much of a happy day for me. But that was a nice little glimmer of kindness. So
that's amazing
for that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good people still exist. That's nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my week. I watched Agretsuko. It's awesome. Watch season 3 and sports. I like the sports ball.
Real quickly before Ryan starts, I always like that Ben gives us a little recap at the end. Like in summation, what I have spoken of now.
The opposite of the trailer before the trailer. It's like, here's what you just watched.
Do you guys want me to stop doing that? Because if it's a problem, I'll stop.
No.
It's a too long didn't read. It's a good. I like it. It's
I like it, Ryan.
So I did the exact same thing I did last week. I just read comics. I did a downright annoyed thing with movies, and I played Avengers, the video game Avengers. But let's talk about some of the comics I read. Boop, boop, boop. Wonder Woman 762. That's a big number. Wow. That book continues to be really, really good. Like it's not breaking any ground, but like I'm really intrigued with what Mariko Tamaki's doing with Maxwell Lord. I think she writes a really compelling villain who's not a villain at the moment. She has to team up with him. And again, you are right. There's a reason he's in the comic because I got a movie coming out. Of course, he's in that book. That book's fun. There's a new Bill and Ted comic out. We just talked about it. I'm like, wow, I'd read a new Bill and Ted comic. So I told him I wasn't a liar and I bought that comic book.
Lucky. When I went to the store, they're all sold out.
Yeah, I got the last copy actually.
Lucky you.
It's fine.
Okay.
It takes place after Bogus Journey. It takes place in the year 2000, and they still have the two daughters. They have daughters, but they're very young. So it's like 20 years before this movie or whatever.
When I was flipping through my books, I actually found Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Return. I still have all 6 issues of that miniseries.
I love it. But this one, it kind of just feels like a rehash. It doesn't feel like those other books did. I'll give it another issue, but like it kind of just feels like, oh, we have to stop the future from being bad. And I'm just like, oh, it doesn't have that flair. I think the writing for Bill and Ted are good. I think the voices are there, but it didn't do anything to really go like, oh, why does this exist? You know what I mean? It feels like they kind of put it out.
So it's written by Evan Dorkin, right?
Yes, who did Beast of Burden, which is a book we did on the book club once.
And the other one.
Oh, the spin-off book.
Kirkwood?
Blackwood?
Blackwood, I think.
Something about Blackwood. Yes.
Blackwood.
Bug people in that one. That was a good one.
So I'm a little surprised here. I know it's in continuity with the movie because it has daughters instead of sons.
Yes.
But I didn't know that it was that was coming out.
Yeah, I didn't know either. And again, I think our store is not the best with indie comics. So like they only had one left when I got there. So I'm sure they didn't have any at the beginning.
I was like 2 steps away from making a Mulan joke because he said they had daughters instead of sons. And I'm like, it's almost there.
Last week. So yeah, that book's fine. I'll give it another issue because I do think Bill and Ted are fun, and there are some good jokes, but the plot itself, it's like, it's fine. Brandon, did you pick up The Rise of Ultraman?
No, I did not.
Oh, you really should have, my man.
Yeah.
Man, you want a good kaiju book? Hello, it's right here, and Marvel has the rights to it. This is Marvel's big because
I've never seen any Ultraman ever.
Neither have I. This is the perfect book to jump onto. It is so much, from what I understand from people who like Ultraman, it feels like a Force Awakens where like, hey, if you're coming new, it has old stuff and brand new stuff to kind of make one giant universe instead of all this different stuff. It's kind of like one centralized universe where it all matters.
Real quickly, Ryan, we got a new subscriber. But have y'all read Lords of Empire? I think
we have
just Empire, right? Not Lords of Empire.
Lords of Empire are the tie-ins to Empire.
I haven't read this week and last week's ending stuff.
Well, that's Aftermath.
Yeah.
Lords of Empire.
Well, no,
came
last
out-
week was 6th issue of Empire, and I haven't read that.
Oh,
But I've read
sorry,
Lords
yeah.
of Empire.
Yeah. But those are specifically the early tie-in books.
I have not. Oh, but I also caught up on my comics this week too. That's another thing I forgot.
Good.
Really TLDR. Empire X-Men is freaking amazing. I caught up on all 4 issues. Those are awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
I finally read my copy of Mega Man Fully Charged #1. Damn, that is a different tone from the TV show. Holy shit.
Like dark.
Holy shit. It is dark. Like
Good.
Skullman is introduced in this one, and as far as I know, he's not, because I haven't really watched the show. I'm gonna see if it's up on HBO Max later, because if it is, I'll catch up. But that show, when you watch it, is definitely a kid show, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a kid show. This book, it ain't a kid show. Like Skullman is like one of the big plot points is Skullman is threatening to kill Dr. Light on the spot. And that's freaking dark.
Did you pick up that #1?
Yeah.
Okay. I was this close to picking it up because I'm like, I'll give it a shot. It looks cool. But I didn't. But now I might.
I did. It's after when I was done reading it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start watching the show, and I'm looking forward to more. So cool.
Mega Man is not on HBO Max.
Rip.
Damn.
I'm
guessing I'm going blind then.
Ultraman's really cool. Like the artist like has such a and it's the only artist I can think of, Pepe Larraz feel. Like his faces are very similar. He has really great like kinetic art. It's like very anime. Like it works perfectly with this book, and it's really well written. And it's Kyle Higgins. Like I'm a big fan of that guy. I'm glad he's getting more Marvel work. I think that book's really fun, and it's a first issue. I think everyone should give it a shot because like you don't know if you like something until you try it out. And I've don't know anything about Ultraman, but I think kaijus are cool, and I know we all like kaiju, so I gave it a shot. I read all my X-Men books. Hey guys, X-Men's cool. You heard it from the guy with the X-Men tattoo. And then there were 2 Empire Aftermath books. Oh, you got a shirt. Yes. We all like X-Men.
No, I'm just saying that this dude's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving his book. I read issue 5. Holy crap, that book is amazing.
Yeah.
Dracula. Magic Blood. Empire had 2 Aftermath issues. I didn't hate the Dan Slott Fantastic Four book. I didn't hate this book. Also, you haven't read it because you haven't read there's a character that shows up that narrates this book that I don't know was if he was in that book in the Fantastic Four tie-ins. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a character I haven't seen in a couple years, and I think it's cool that they're bringing him back for something cool. Like it's a big setup. Both these issues have huge setups for X-Men stuff and Fantastic Four stuff. And I'm very interested in where it goes, specifically for the X-Men, because it looks like the X-Men are going to be fighting some people sometime soon. And
It's almost like they have an event or something.
Not that. I'm not talking about that.
I know.
No. There's like 7 X-Men events happening soon. I picked up a Cyberpunk book, but I didn't read it yet. And that's it. And then I played more Marvel's Avengers, the video game. Hey guys, that game plays really good. That game plays really fun. It's got the Destiny problem where what do you do after 2 weeks of playing that game? Not a whole lot of nothing. You just replay the same missions. There is still high level stuff I haven't got to yet, so that gives me incentive to keep playing. Not everyone likes the combat. I understand that. I really like it. I think it is a lot of fun. I still haven't leveled everyone up, but all the characters are varied enough where I'm still having fun playing the game. There's no more good story stuff. Like it's just repeating kind of the same missions. But you know what? I play Dead by Daylight with you guys, and I do the same thing for hours every single day. So like for me, that doesn't bother me. I know the pandemic screwed things up badly for them. I also know this is the first time they've ever made a multiplayer game because they've only made the Tomb Raider games before this. So I understand all the struggles of trying to make a game in this scope and having to eventually release it because art's never really finished, right? And this game was supposed to come out in May. And if it would have came out in May, holy shit, it would have been a disaster. So I still think it's a very fun game to play. And at least the campaign is good. Destiny's campaign wasn't very good at the first one. The Division, Anthem, Warframe, they all launched really badly. So I'll at least give the Avengers that has a dope-ass campaign to play. That I can give it that. In the next month, we're supposed to be getting DLC. We're going to be getting Wakanda soon. We were supposed to see footage of that with the Last War Table, but because of Chadwick Boseman's passing, they decided to be respectful and not show Black Panther stuff, which I get. So the future of the game is really bright. There's a lot of heart and character in that game. It's just unfortunate that they had to eventually release it before it was done, which stinks. But I think the foundation is really strong, and I'm still going to be playing it. So eventually, I can do those high level things that I haven't done yet. But then I'll probably get tired of those because it's the only thing in the game. So I'll come back to you in like
that's what multiplayer's for.
That's what
Play with your
multiplayer's for.
friends.
Exactly. So I'll come back to you. I won't give you an update next week because there's not much else to do. But like there'll be Kate Bishop and Hawkeye soon. There'll be Wakanda soon. So I'll let you know then.
Cool.
You played
Sparks,
another
you
game, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
What?
You played some Fortnite.
I played Fortnite with him. Oh yeah, guys, Fortnite's really good. We won twice in a row as the second we started playing. Our first 2 matches
That's
we
good.
won.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
I know you guys, you and Sparks, because we played Fall Guys. BT Dub Sparks, I still can't get over that amazing win you had. He had a great comfort behind victory on Fall Guys when he was playing Fall Ball, the soccer one.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I still have not won Fall Guys, but I did win.
But but that was amazing comeback. Kudos to you. Yeah, you guys have been telling me that I should, because I did download Fortnite. I want to say when like the first few months when it was starting to get popular, my brother asked me to play it, and I did play it. I tried it. It wasn't my thing. Now you guys are saying it's really good, and I should give it a shot. So I will go back in with an open mind, because not gonna lie, as Fortnite gained more and more popularity, and and the people were doing the dances, and people were saying, "Oh my god, Fortnite's the greatest game ever," and I started becoming a quote unquote bitter old man.
Yeah, I was 100%. Hey man.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't attacking it if they like Fortnite. If Fortnite's your favorite game, kudos to you. But I will now say that I will give it another shot because of all the Marvel stuff.
Let me part of what made me go back to Fortnite, most of it is the Marvel stuff happening right now. But the other part of it is I recently talked to a friend about video game stuff, and they referenced Fortnite, and they're like, the reason why Fortnite is so good is because the game learned that the game is made for the 99 people that lose a match, not for the one person that wins. And once they started catering to that audience rather than the one winner, that's when the game got good. And it's true, because what it is that when I log in, I don't really care about winning the match. I don't care about being the number one person. It's cool if it happens, but it's not my goal. When I go in, I'm like, your goal is to go kill Dr. Doom while you're in this match. Oh, great. Or your job is to go check out this Quinjet. Or your job is to go check out the Black Panther statue.
Find Wolverine's trophy.
Claw marks and do these challenges and get experience and just do stuff along the way. And the goal isn't to be the last person standing when I play. And I don't think for most people when they play, that's the goal anymore. It doesn't feel that way. Right. And that's why I like the game.
And it still is that game. You are still like trying to survive.
That's still it.
Yeah, but they give you so much to do. We're like when he was guiding me through all the missions he's already done, like we didn't interact with people half the time. It wasn't until the match got smaller and smaller and like we had to fight. It's like, oh, now we have to fight.
But we had one section where I swear to God, like I think 2 separate squads flanked us from 2 sides and we killed them all with shotguns.
Dude, it felt like a John Wick.
It was like 8 people that we had to kill one after another.
It was like a Baxter to each other, man. It was.
Yeah. We were really lucky we were in a house at the time.
And like the Marvel stuff, like it is really well done. Like it's not. We talked about it last time. Like it's not a cash grab. Like the Doctor Doom stuff's really cool, and you get his powers, and you get to throw a giant green spirit ball. So it's awesome.
I think the best example of that is the one that I got this last week that I learned about, which is that if you do the week 1 and 2 challenges and you have Jennifer Walters, then you get an extra costume design for her. And what they show you in promoting that costume design for you to get it is that what you're going to get is she usually is wearing a white blouse and a black skirt. Now she's wearing a gray blouse and a gray skirt, and you're like, ooh, and she's got some red in her hair, and I'm like, I guess that's fun. But what I didn't realize is that when I hit the She-Hulk transformation button in that, I turn into Red She-Hulk, which is dope.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of good stuff to this game.
And also, it couldn't hurt that it was written by Donny Cates.
Yeah, exactly.
Our Lord and Savior, Donny Cates.
Absolutely, Witch Historian. It's about feeling good about what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just
Dead by Daylight is perfect for that.
Exactly.
If I get a generator done and I still die, I'm good.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
I real quick because I messaged Ben while we were doing this because I just realized while he was talking about Sonic comics that he has my thumb drive that I gave him with all the old Sonic comics on it. I've been looking for that thumb drive for like a month, and I'm like, I don't know what I did with it. And
it's right here. It is right here. It's safe. I still need to put these on my. I'm going to talk to Fanny if it's cool to put it on a laptop or my desktop.
I don't need it. I just was concerned that I didn't know where it was.
Still here. Make sure it's safe.
So I'll just go. Fortnite. I played Avengers as well. My copy finally showed up.
How much? How much did you play?
I played all the way up until the end of the Abomination stuff that was in the beta.
Oh, so not much extra.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But I got all that like build up of the Kamala stuff, which honestly I really loved. Like the whole section of her in the opening after
Excellent.
like the years later after A-Day.
Yeah.
And her going to the park for the heroes and stuff. I'm like, this is really great character game stuff. I just didn't expect them to take their time with.
Yeah.
Again,
they didn't market any of that shit.
I know.
It's crazy.
It really is Kamala's story, and it's a lot of it's really well done. There's really good emotional beats in there. They take the time to give Kamala on A-Day these moments where she has her first moment that she meets the heroes.
And they're all good.
And they're individual and they're really well done.
Like I don't want to spoil what happens, but like I think Thor rules. Like
me too.
Thor was the one who, like, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, he's a bad Shakespearean guy. Bro, that is the Thor Ragnarok Thor. They just don't advertise it. That dude is so funny. Really is. They don't advertise it, but he's so funny. He's cracking jokes left and right.
Yeah.
Who was in charge of this advertising? Because they should be fired.
Not the people making the game.
Dumb.
Not the people making the game.
So the Avengers game is really good story stuff, and Ryan's right about the gameplay. And the exploration feels good, and I particularly love, this is minor spoiler, really, really minor spoiler, but I particularly love that when they need to load you into a totally new area, what happens is that Bruce is driving Kamala somewhere, and so they just show you a long sequence of Bruce driving the car, and she's sitting in there with a big cup, and she's just slurping out of it. And Bruce is just like, he's just like come out of being the Hulk for the first time in a long time, and he's like got no patience, and Kamala's just like, okay. And that's the sequence. It's like the Spider-Man subway transition. But instead of just like making that something that like sometimes happens, they built it into a character moment.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And we played Dead by Daylight. The graphics updated. We should talk about that real quick. Dead by Daylight look great.
So that game is over 4 years old now. And it recently got announced that it's getting a PS5, Xbox One like free upgrade if you own the game.
Yeah.
So they've already been apparently working on that because they gave the current gen games an update, which is dope.
An 8 gig update that really did make a difference visually. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to look as much better as it did,
and it's going to look even better on the next.
The maps are so much more dynamic.
Yeah. A lot of the maps that we were playing this weekend were a lot. Either I don't know. I couldn't tell if they're the same maps that we've been in. Even the ones that we were in, like the cornfield one, it looks a lot better.
They were, I think, all but one the same map that we've done over and over and over again.
It's
but they look different
too. The lighting is super. Like lighting goes a long way in these types of games. It really does. Yeah. But yeah, all the textures are better. It's just like it's a complete almost overhaul. It's nice.
Yeah,
you're actually working on generators.
One of the things I was going to mention is like the little things in like when they do big upgrades or patches like this, they add the little things like instead, because before when you worked on a generator, it's just your hands went inside and it was like random movement. Now there's like levers, you're trying to hot wire it, you're actually working on it, and it's like
you're doing something.
Yeah,
it feels like you're actually doing something instead of just constantly staring at that timer and looking around for the killer and mentally yelling at that timer to hurry the F up.
Yeah. And considering everything else they make you pay for that game, I'm really glad that the upgrades are all free, including up to the next console. I think that's awesome. So good on them for that. We watched Lovecraft Country. It took me a long time to get the video up. Part of that is because I had to focus on school stuff first. Another part of it is something weird was going on here as far as uploading to YouTube. I'm hoping it was just that one day. But for some reason, I had that video done in the morning, Brandon. That video went up at like 5 p.m. And that's never happened to me before.
A YouTube thing.
I had to assume so. I canceled it twice and tried to restart it, and it kept doing it. But anyway, our Fake Nerds Watch Lovecraft Country came out late, but it's up.
Description.
Yeah. I today watched Bad Times at the El Royale, which I hadn't seen yet.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That was pretty good. It made me really sad that I'm blanking on her name. I should have had it up. But the one who plays Darlene.
Lovecraft Country is great.
Lovecraft Country is amazing. Darlene in the film, she was just in that Harriet film, and she's so good. And I wish that Harriet movie, I'd heard better things.
Yeah.
But I liked Bad Times at the El Royale. I think that there's kind of a swing and a miss on not on Chris Hemsworth's performance, but on the writing of his character. And I think that's kind of the only thing I don't like about that film is that I'm either not given enough time or the time that they use isn't utilized well to convince me that he's kind of the Charles Manson stand-in he is. So
I remember really liking that movie. I haven't seen it since it was theaters, but
I really enjoy it too. There's just like I can buy him when it gets to the third act of the movie when Chris Hemsworth is there. I can buy him as the guy who's like using his words the way he is to hold it over the like victims at the hotel. But what I don't buy about his personality is that he's the kind of personality that all these people form a cult around. They don't sell me on that idea. And that's the hard part of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I liked it. We watched one more episode of The Boys.
Yeah.
So we're catching up. That was great.
That show still.
We'll talk about that soon, so I'm not going to go into it here. I watched Citizen Kane for school. That's a movie. I don't dislike that movie. I just think that movie gets more praise than it deserves. But I don't dislike it. Brandon and I played a game called Among Us.
we did.
We did. That's it's very popular. It's a lot of fun. I think especially if you're playing with your friends. I knew automatically I would like the game because it is essentially virtual mafia, cutthroat, werewolf, whatever you want to call it. It's that game, but virtually, where you are playing with all your friends and then one or two or three are secretly the killer and you're all trying to figure out who the killer is. I have always loved those games. So it's no surprise that I love Among Us. And it's really nice that you can do that from home with your friends.
Real quickly, Ben, you're sitting too still. You're freaking me out.
I'm just like,
Honestly, I didn't. You weren't blinking.
you thought my screen froze.
And then the last thing I'll bring up is that Megan and I finished watching Smash. I'll say it again, if you like musicals, musical theater, that's a worthwhile show to watch. I think that they have some writing issues kind of forcing, the way I described it to Megan is that it's a show that pisses me off because I don't feel like the characters are ever allowed to like breathe and have a moment of joy because they'll have a big dramatic thing introduced in an episode. The next episode is all about them resolving that thing or like dealing with it. And then in the episode after that, it is fully resolved. And then immediately a new thing happens to them. And this happens to like all of the principals.
Hey, Titus.
Just constantly, all the different ones. And I'm like, that's so much. Like once a character has resolved the thing, like let them be happy for like an episode or two and let me just focus on other characters dealing with dumb stuff.
But drama.
Yes. But I've like watched dramas before and this is on an extreme level where they like, it's always a problem to me when you force a character to do something that doesn't feel like something a character would do just because you need to create more tension or drama for a character. And I'm like, I
hate forced drama. Oh yeah.
And that happens a lot in Smash, unfortunately, especially in the second half of the second season. But overall, I enjoy the experience.
Every time you say Smash, Sparks,
Smash.
I know you're talking about the show. But for some freaking reason, my brain goes to Smash Bros.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Every time someone says Smash, I'm like, what? Smash Bros? Where?
Hey, Ben.
I know.
I can tell you the reason.
Why?
It's because you play a lot of Smash Brothers.
It's
no, okay.
Ben.
Because I'm a video game. I'm a video game guy.
And I promise you, I can think of very few things that are as far apart away from each other as Super Smash Brothers and the television show Smash.
What do you mean, Marilyn Monroe is the new character in the Smash Brothers?
Okay. However, if people can edit, like cut frames of Smash into the Avengers trailers, I'm pretty sure someone can turn it into a musical. I'm pretty sure they could.
That goes to the people watching this.
Thank you.
Smash
Titus.
the like button.
Thank you, Titus.
Yeah, drama because it's bad writing.
Just real quick, because somebody brought up the Lords of Empire book. That writer, Alex Packnerdell, has a new indie book called Giga coming out, which is a post-apocalyptic kaiju book, but it's not about the kaiju. It's about the people who now live inside the robots that help defend the world. The robots were so big, now they're using them as like cities to live inside. That looks sick, and I'm super excited for that book. It's called Giga.
From Vault Comics.
Yeah, Vault's the best, baby.
That's it for me. Go ahead,
Awesome.
Brandon.
All right. I did a lot of recapping, a lot of stuff, so I'm not going to go into it too much. The only new movie that I watched this week was a movie called Animal Crackers. This is a Netflix original. I mean, they bought it. Indie animated film. It's really good. It's got a really good voice cast, I should say. John Krasinski, Ian McKellen. They play brothers. That's weird. No, sorry. John Krasinski is Ian McKellen's nephew.
Okay, that's better.
Ian McKellen's brother is Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars.
Oh,
Okay.
James
Does
Arnold
he do an
Taylor.
old man voice though, or something?
No,
Oh, weird.
he does when he is an old man.
Okay.
Ian McKellen does a young man voice.
It's me. I'm Ian McKellen.
He does say "Fly, you fools," which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's rich.
Wow.
So it's an enjoyable animated feature. If you just want a good time, it's about John Krasinski. His family has owned the circus that Danny DeVito belongs to, and Sylvester Stallone is in it.
Is it a Dumbo prequel?
I love the idea that it's a circus and the exhibit is Danny DeVito, not Danny DeVito voicing an animal, just Danny DeVito.
It's Danny DeVito voicing a clown, but the animals are John Krasinski. So he eats these animal crackers that turn him into an animal.
Oh wow!
oh,
It's curvy.
And so that's the whole movie. And Ian McKellen wants that. It's a cute film.
okay.
The animation good?
Yeah, the animation's pretty good.
Cool.
But I won't go too deep into it. I watched The Final Girls, which is an underrated gem.
Yes, it
Didn't
is.
When we watched that last year?
Yeah,
We did, yeah. You guys showed that to me last year. You not forced. You sat Fan and I down to watch it because you said it was really good.
I think it is a crime that Final Girls can't get its sequel made.
yeah.
Back when we could hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
long ago in the before times.
I also rewatched the Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, The Mummy.
American Club.
Mm-hmm.
American classic. Zara hasn't seen it before, and when I told her, I was like, "Hey, I want to watch The Mummy." She said the Tom Cruise one. I said, "Buddy," because she had never seen any of them. She's not seen the Boris Karloff. She's not seen the Brendan Fraser or the Tom Cruise.
Or the Abbott Costello.
Abbott Costello. So I got it on Blu-ray now. Actually, thanks to Sparks. I have
Oh
it
my
on
God.
Blu-ray.
Has enough time passed from when we made that video that you now rewatch the movie? Oh my God. That's time. Oh no.
Yeah.
There's a whole video made that's just
I was still living at my old house when I borrowed Dracula, the Bela Lugosi film from Sparks, because I never seen any of the classic Universal monster films.
Dracula mother.
So we watched the Brendan Fraser one. That movie's great. The movie holds up so well, and Brendan Fraser is one of the best action heroes of our time. I really wish that he didn't destroy his body and lose all his money to divorce. That was unfair.
So, which historian, when you say original Mummy, are you talking about the Brendan Fraser Mummy or the 1930s Boris Karloff one? Just curious.
Generally speaking,
remake.
People mean the 90s.
Brendan Fraser's life took a hard turn on him, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy. But he's super great in God, I don't remember.
Doom Patrol.
But I was going to say Doom Patrol,
Truth
obviously.
or
Trust.
Trust, thank you.
I was close.
Trust. He's super great in Trust, which I think is part of what led to him being able to be on Doom Patrol.
Where he plays Mark Wahlberg's character from the movie, right?
Sure, I never saw the movie, so yes.
Yeah, it's Mark Wahlberg's character.
Cool. It's Brendan Fraser's character, actually.
Yeah,
This-
it's not a real person.
This week was also the 54th anniversary of Star Trek. So, as always on the anniversary, it is Star Trek Day on September 8th. So, I watched some Star Trek movies. I watched my comfort movies, which were Generations, which is the one where Kirk meets Picard. It's a comfort film. It's not great, but I feel nice watching it.
That's good.
So I also watched Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. That's the one that takes place in Sparks and I's alma mater, hometown. That's what that's called.
First Star Trek film I ever watched in my life.
And the Monterey Bay Aquarium is the Cetacean Institute in San Francisco in that movie.
Yeah.
That movie's a joy. I like that one a whole lot. But Zara had seen, let me tell you the story. Zara had seen one J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. And she couldn't tell me which one. I was like, is it Star Trek 09? Is it Star Trek Into Darkness? Is it Star Trek Beyond? It's like, it was definitely not Beyond. But I don't know. So I was like, okay, we're just going to have to watch them all.
As you do. You just watch 3 movies.
So we watched the trilogy, the J.J. Abrams trilogy, or the Kelvin trilogy, as it's officially dubbed.
It shouldn't be called the Abrams trilogy because he's not involved in the third one.
I mean, he's the executive producer, so that's how they get around it. But officially,
we all know that just means that your name's on it so you can get paid. It's like
really?
Hey, on it.
It is called the Kelvin timeline films, the Kelvin trilogy.
Sure.
Star Trek 09 is a really solid film. It's not a great Star Trek film, but it's solid. It's got a great cast. Leonard Nimoy's amazing in it. Star Trek Into Darkness is one of the worst pieces of garbage I've ever seen in my life. And every time I've only watched it 3 times, and each time it gets significantly worse. Because this time I realized that Benedict Cumberbatch is actually not good in the movie.
What a twist.
Which I used to think for a long time. I was like, Benedict Cumberbatch is good in it. He's awful. He's given nothing.
Yeah.
It's an awful, awful movie.
I haven't seen that movie since theaters, and I
Same.
really don't know if I ever will.
I don't need to. There's no reason to.
I was going to get rid of it. I'm getting a little bit more harsh on my DVDs. If I don't like the movie, you're out. So I don't like Star Trek Into Darkness, but I was watching and I was like, shit. This is the last time Leonard Nimoy was Spock.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of it.
Nope.
Whatever you need to justify having it on your shelf. I understand.
Leonard Nimoy died significantly after that, actually, during Star Trek Beyond. But Star Trek Darkness is garbage. Star Trek Beyond is awesome. That movie rules.
James Wan?
Justin Lin. Justin Lin. And Simon Pegg and his writing partner, I forget his name, on script. That movie rules. That is an excellent Star Trek film. That is an excellent blockbuster. Somehow they pulled it off really well. It's made even better if Star Trek Into Darkness doesn't exist, which is great. Because it's not the exact same plot. But that film looks awesome. That movie moves. It's got honestly a great callback to Star Trek 09 with the music scene towards the end. Mm-hmm. If you're a Star Trek fan, you pick out all these little nuggets. I love that movie. That movie's a blast.
I love Beyond. I think if Beyond had come right after Star Trek 09, we'd have so many more Star Trek movies already.
100%.
I remember, I've only seen it since we saw it in the theaters, but I will never forget watching the scene where Zachary Quinto Spock opens what Leonard Nimoy Spock left him, and it's the picture of the original cast.
Yeah.
I almost freaking
cried. From Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
I almost freaking cried.
Yeah, that's a good moment.
Close to tears.
It's also the last time Anton Yelchin is in Star. He's Chekhov.
Yeah,
he's got a good performance. I like the movie a whole lot. The movie's awesome. That's all I want to say about those. But I watched a new show kind of on accident. I was just needing something on. I watched the entirety of Prop Culture, which is a Disney Plus docuseries.
Oh, nice.
About a guy that goes around collecting props and talking about their significance. He searches for Mary Poppins, Tron, Pirates of the Caribbean. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a really fun episode.
Yes, it was. I watched it.
Nightmare Before Christmas, that was good. It's a fun little show about just like movie history and the value that these props can take. Yeah,
I really like the Narnia episode where we got 3 of the 4 kids and they're holding the shield and like, oh, it's so much lighter now. I'm like, yeah, you grew, dude.
What about Turkish Delights? Do they have any Turkish Delights?
No Turkish Delights.
I'm not watching it then.
No. I think that show's really, really interesting. I don't know when it's going to get a second season because it kind of needs to go outside to do it. But whatever, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then, I read some X-Men comics like Ryan said. I figured out those one in there. I read the X-Men comics. Those are all really good. X Factor was a lot of fun.
Man, X Factor turning Mojoverse which always was like a interdimensional TV show, into like modern day streaming is brilliant and totally makes sense. And yeah, that book, like all these new, like Hellions, X Factor, like it's impressive how they keep putting new books out, and they're all dope as hell in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Hey guys, X-Men rule. Just saying, you know it.
And then I read the only other comic I read this week was Web of Venom Wraith, which is the new tie-in to Venom. That book introduces an aspect to what could be the King in Black, what could happen in the King in Black arc, and it's so cool. And I just found myself really enjoying it, and I'm so stoked for King in Black. I thought that book was awesome.
Excellent. I thought about it, but I'm a few issues behind on Venom because I've just been reading that digitally now. I was like, man, I read some really cool character, but he was in his Guardians run too, which is funny. He really likes that character. I'll probably end up reading it still.
Well, in his Guardians run, Wraith is helping Maximus, I think, so that he can find the location of Null, and so that's where we pick him up in Web of Venom, where he's found Null, and if you read Absolute Carnage, Null is coming. So
he's coming, all right.
So that's kind of like him breaking out and what happens to Wraith at the time. Donnie Cates, by the way, if you're watching this, you absolutely do put ketchup on hot dogs.
No,
heathen.
I am a staunch. I am anti that as well.
Oh my god, et tu, Brute.
Hey,
I'll be honest with you. I go both ways.
Good.
Me too. I mean, some days I want ketchup, some days I want mustard and onions.
Yeah. Centralism.
I'm kidding.
It's
hot dog.
depends,
I'm kidding.
It depends on how good that hot dog is. Is that hot dog really good on its own? I don't need the ketchup.
It's true.
If that hot dog needs ketchup to make it actually taste good, then it gets ketchup.
You know what? You guys just made me miss so much.
Dodger dogs.
Yes, because my perfect Dodger dog is a Dodger dog with mustard and onions, and it's just an ice cold Coke, and I am a happy man for the whole game.
Like $97
That
right
sounds
there.
good, man. I like the spice, so I like the Giants dog, which comes with jalapeno peppers.
Spicy meatballs.
Sounds better to me.
All right. Shall we get into our news now?
Yeah.
Do you have the music thing for this one too?
No, I don't.
Shit.
It's videos for it, or it'll just be a black screen.
Yeah.
And we don't want a black screen. By the way, last week, guys, I got this out of the audio, but it's still in the video. In the middle of the outro music, Ryan just unmutes his microphone, and you absolutely do hear it.
Yes.
Before we go 100% into the news, I want to make a quick addendum. There's no other really good place to do it about our Mulan review last week.
Okay.
Before we started, I did a thing where I talked about the controversies behind it. I apologize. I didn't look at everything that was part of that controversy behind it, because it has a lot more to do with a lot of people being really upset about filming where there's the highest amount of concentration camps since the Holocaust, and Disney filmed there, and then explicitly thanked them for letting them film on this really unfortunate hate crime.
That's gross.
In the film's credits. And I'm like, you know what? I get it more now. I totally understand why people want to boycott that movie. I also understand the arguments. I understand the arguments against it. We watched it. We reviewed it. It's there. I'm sorry.
Hey, good news. It's not great, though. So good legacy, Disney.
Yeah. It was after we did the review. Then I think the next day I was scrolling Twitter and so much of that I'm like, shit.
That was already out there. I just hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
But it already existed, and that was part of a lot of it. So I just wanted to be clear, like, we're aware there's a lot of shitty things that went on with that production, regardless of, like, the positives, which a lot of people have talked about, like, the Asian American representation as far as, like, film actors going and things like that. However, I do want to point out one thing that I think is absolutely insane. Disney Plus has that movie available in a ton of languages, but do you want to guess which one it isn't available in for subtitles? Subtitles?
Mandarin. Are you kidding me? There's no Mandarin Chinese?
There's no Mandarin subtitles for that film. For their Disney Plus
in their Chinese movie?
Right, so a whole bunch of people whose grandparents and parents only speak Chinese have talked about how their family members really wanted to watch this movie, and they can't.
How is that even... What? That one's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
that
sorry.
one.
To the news.
So
right.
here's the ball. Dun.
Man. Disney sucks a little bit sometimes, all the time.
When you're that big of a company, you're always going to suck somewhere.
It's true. Like a vacuum.
All right.
Butter!
Moving on. This week saw the passing of famed actress Diana Rigg. She's mostly known probably to our audience as from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like, she had a
Olenna Tyrell.
She had a long history in Hollywood, very long history in Hollywood. For instance, she's the only person to ever marry James Bond.
Yeah, I was going to say she's a Bond woman.
Yeah.
She is?
She was the Bond girl in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the only film with George Lazenby.
Nice.
I know her. I watched it when I was young, like the old school Avengers, where she played Miss Peel. I think her name was Miss Peel. But this was like 60 years ago at this point. But yeah, man, she's a legacy person.
She passed away this week at the age of 82.
Yeah. Game of Thrones. She was a badass lady. Olenna Tyrell killed it literally, and
she did.
She was so cool.
I only knew her because of Olenna Tyrell, and then back when I want to say it was like when season 6 was rolling around, people were showing memes they were showing memes or screenshots of like when Olenna was telling Marjorie like I was good. I was really good. And then it was a picture of her back in the day. It's like, yeah, she's not joking.
Yeah.
And
she was the first Avenger, technically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I saw the '90s remake with Sean Connery.
Ray Fiennes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Are you talking about that old 60s for the Avengers with the spies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which
I did a report on that
Right now, I made a reference to the remake movie.
Yeah, I studied that. I had to do a report on the Avengers when I was. Oh, it wasn't the Avengers in the Mod Squad. Never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong TV show. Shit.
All right.
Shows in the world.
Lots of comments here. Okay. Okay. Some video game news happened this week. Xbox, for instance, had this leaked and then confirmed that that their new console, next gen console, will be available November 10th. The Xbox Series X will be released at $499, while the Xbox Series S will be released at $299.
Holy shit, you guys!
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That's a price point.
It's the cheapest next gen console ever made, and I'm not counting the Switch because let's not joke. Nintendo's never been about power. Right. With Game Pass being $15, this is the best thing. This is the best deal you can. This is not a true next gen system, but it is more powerful than your current Xbox, and you're getting it for $300. I know it being discless is a problem for physical media people. I understand that, but if you have Game Pass, every single first first party game like Halo and Gears, it's on Game Pass for free. So you don't need discs. The only problem is the memory. You're going to run out of memory pretty fast. That's the only problem. But we live in the 21st century. We all have
external hard drive.
Get an external hard drive.
I think the only the challenge that like I would face personally is like if I even decided, I'll go discless for the next gen console. All my Xbox One games I have, I can't put the discs in.
No, that's true. That's why
it becomes like
we would get the more expensive one anyway, probably. Because I don't want a half step measure. That's why I never bought an Xbox One S.
Because its resolution capabilities are lower.
Yeah,
they're still good. They're not.
Yes. So games are not in 4K, but you can upscale movies and TV shows to 4K. So you still have a next gen like movie system. Just the games are still going to look better than they do now, but not true next gen. Which again, for $300, you guys. They also have a payment plan. I don't know if you guys know this. So you can spend $25 a month and you get an Xbox and you get Game Pass. And you pay it off in 24 months, no interest. And you just get the Xbox. Like that is so it's crazy because if Halo were coming out, you can get a new Xbox and Halo for $25. Xbox is seriously like they're blowing PlayStation out of the water.
They are really pushing.
Is going to probably be $500, and they do have a lower end system too. That is not $300. That's already pretty much confirmed. That is a disk drive in it, and it's just a cheaper version, probably $400. But Xbox is seriously like doing like money making moves, you guys, like for real. It's insane.
I think especially like, you know, what PlayStation 5 right now has against it is like there's a whole lot of like launch party titles and things that have already come out where you're like, you can see the next gen in the PlayStation 5. And we haven't seen that yet in Xbox, but we will.
Yeah.
And Xbox long term has the plan to beat.
Yeah. So PlayStation does have more exclusives coming out. Like it has Miles Morales coming out at launch. Ratchet and Clank is a couple months after that. There's a bunch of other like cool indie games and smaller games that are at launch. So PlayStation definitely has the exclusives right now, but they don't have the same backwards compatibility that Xbox does. It doesn't have a Game Pass equivalent. It has PlayStation Now, but that's just all old games. That's not new games. Like next gen, like. PlayStation's kind of in the ringer, and like, yeah, they got Spider-Man, but that's not a full game. That's a 10-hour like side story, which is great. But like, man, I'm just like, Xbox is killing it. Oh man, but like, we all like the PlayStation exclusives, I think, more than Xbox One. So like, I'm still getting a PS5, and Microsoft is cool enough where I don't even need to buy a next gen system. All the games that are coming out in the next couple of years, I can still play on my Xbox One, or even better yet, my dope-ass PC. That's still going to be maybe even better than what the new consoles are coming out in. So for Xbox, it's like a win-win. Like honestly, like they're
you can always decide to like get it later too.
Yeah, and you can decide to get it later, and then you'll just have a better-looking game. Yeah. Whereas PlayStation 5, like, no, you have to buy a PS5, which is cool. But like, it's just so rigid and so like past thinking, and Xbox is so forward thinking. It's the stuff that they wanted to do with the original Xbox One 7 years ago, but the public was not ready for it. But now we are, and I'm like, man, we could have had this like almost a decade ago. Like it's really crazy. It's really cool.
Yeah. All right. Nintendo had a thing this week where they announced Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, a game that is set 100 years before the events of The Legend of Zelda.
Pause real quick. Which historian asked, do we have an opinion about Dragon Age?
Oh, I like Dragon Age a lot. That second game is not very good, but that's because that was a poorly managed game that came out bad. But 1 and 3 are excellent. I'm really excited for 4. Made by BioWare, who makes Mass Effect, and I love that franchise.
I echo a lot of what he said, except I have only played Dragon Age 1.
It's good.
Sadly, never played it.
All right, so Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors. This game looks great. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited. So yeah, it takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild. When you play Breath of the Wild, very minor spoilers for it. It mentioned
at the beginning of the game. It's at
the beginning of the game. They mentioned the thing called the Great Calamity, which is when Ganon took over and won, essentially. And you're picking up the pieces 100 years later. So you finally get to see the events of how Ganon won in a Dynasty's Warrior style fight. Now, what really makes me excited for this one compared to the first Hyrule Warriors was that the creative team behind Breath of the Wild is very heavily helping Koei Tecmo, the developers of this game, with this one.
Dude, it looks like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, as in
so much better than that first game.
Yeah, so they're like said this is how the graphics need to look like. This is what the story and dialogue needs to be, and this is how, because it's a war. It's not like Breath of the Wild where you're hunting and foraging and living off the land. This is the war. Yeah, this is the war that essentially almost destroyed all Hyrule. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. Their story, you get to play as all 4 champions. I'm really excited to play as Urbosa. She looks like a total badass.
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for this. Like, because when Hyrule Warriors first came out, I was like, okay, that looks cool. I've never been a big Dynasty Warriors fan. And then Age of Calamity pops up. I'm like, what?
Yeah. This looks really cool. And it's going to be a nice like interim game before Breath of the Wild 2, which is most likely next year.
Yeah, actually, I know you guys probably saw like the main trailer, the short trailer. There was also a 6-minute long one with the producer.
Yeah, we watched that.
Oh, you watched that one? Okay, because he did say that, hey, it's coming, just please be patient. We're working on it. I'm like, take all the time you need, because Breath of the Wild was a feat. It was glorious. Mm-hmm. There's a reason it's one of my favorite games of all time. And just put as much love and polish and care into Breath of the Wild 2, I'll be a happy man. But Hyrule Age of Calamity is going to be a nice little thing to hold me over until Breath of the Wild 2.
A little snack.
Yeah.
They're Kingdom Heartsing you.
Yeah, well, funny enough, because Kingdom Hearts is coming out in a few months. Melody of Memories, or is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Melody of Memories. Mom.
Now's a good time to bring up that Kingdom Hearts news. You saw what Nomura said, yeah?
No, I didn't actually.
Next main game in 2022 for the 20th anniversary.
What?
Hey guys, big budget games take longer than 2 years to make, so don't expect anything big.
I know.
Much like Spider-Man, like
everyone's like, yeah, okay, Nomura, and he's like, well, it's the 20th anniversary. We want
it's gonna be like a mobile game or something.
Like, no, he said he wants to be the main thing.
Like, Kingdom Hearts 4 in 2022.
I don't think it'll be called 4. It'll be like some colon.
It'll be some colon thing. It's going to be the next main title.
Bullshit. It's probably going to be another bridge game just to.
No, like, look, Ben, it's not going to come out in 2022.
No, it's not. Not even close.
That's what Nomura is saying, is that he wants to do it for the 20th anniversary, because Nomura is all about big ambitions and smaller deliveries.
Yeah.
Saying
as a diehard Kingdom Hearts fan, you're absolutely right. And of course, I'm probably going to get that Melody game when it comes out, so.
Hey, I'll definitely get that game at some point.
The music is great.
I have no problem with a rhythm game for Kingdom Hearts. That's incredible.
Persona does it all the time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, there's going to be more story to it, so we're going to get more Kairi, which, yay.
Mm-hmm.
Give that woman some kick-ass moments, please. She deserves it.
All right, so Ubisoft had a thing this week. What's it called again?
Ubisoft Forward.
Ubisoft Forward, thank you. Where they announced a bunch of cool stuff. The first thing they announced, the first thing I have here is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake.
Yeah,
I don't going to buy this game.
Have you guys ever played the original one?
I never.
I played it at the Youth Center on the PlayStation 2.
At the what center?
The Youth Center.
Oh, the Youth Center. Oh, cool. Okay, so you experienced it. It's a platformer with the time mechanics.
No, I knew of it, and I knew of Sands of Time and a whole bunch of other Prince of Persia games that came out on the PS2 back in the day, and also the old arcade ones which were really hard, or not the arcade ones, the 16-bit ones that are really hard.
OG one.
I wanted to get into it, but I just never got a copy of it. Now we're getting a remake, and I'm like, I got no excuse now.
I will say, considering all of the remakes we've gotten, like Shadow of the Colossus and Crash and all these games, this looks like a PS3 game. And like the gameplay looks like that old gameplay. It still looks like it's going to be a fun time, but like what I come to expect from modern remakes is like, make it look modern. And like just a really small studio.
It looks more like what would appropriately be called a remaster, but it isn't.
Yeah.
They made a lot of the game.
It definitely looks...
So it is a remake, and I'm like, but it should look better.
It looks better than the PS2 version, but it definitely doesn't look like a PS4 version.
Because like if you're only trying to appeal to the crowds that like that original game, just do a remaster.
Exactly.
But if you're trying to draw in a new audience, you got to make it look better than that.
They do have a lot of the original voice cast coming back. They did recast the princess. I don't remember that game very much. So like a new cast or the same cast is cool, whatever. If it's as long as it's not $60, that's cool. I hope it's not $60 because it doesn't look like a $60 game.
Do we know how much Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is? Because I haven't gotten that game yet. I've been really wanting to get it.
Yo, dude, that game is probably $60, but that game apparently is like the greatest thing ever made. I've heard nothing but like insanely good things about that game.
Okay, I can live with that.
Like, it not only does stuff from 1 and 2, but incorporates gameplay mechanics from all of the other games to make it like the most real ass best Tony Hawk experience ever made. Like I'm thinking about picking.
Next said $40.
Yeah, baby, get that game.
And which historian? I do see you, chat. She said, "Looking better is such a big seller for me." I also agree. Even though I'm a total shill, I got Super Mario 3D All Stars pre-ordered.
Hey man. Those games are still fun. I just don't want to spend
They are. Oh, really quick anecdote. I saw a headline from Eurogamer. Apparently, stores across the nation are stopping pre-orders of 3D All-Stars due to a shortage from Nintendo.
Yeah.
So Nintendo might be up to their old tricks again, but we don't know. I mean, I got my pre-order set and done, so hopefully I'm safe, but we don't know.
I know.
So probably the biggest...
Ben, which historian, if you didn't notice, corrected you and that called him he.
He. Wait, what did I say?
You said she.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. My bad.
All right. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The game is coming back to your consoles.
Oh, you mean one of the greatest games ever made?
Yeah.
You mean probably the best video game adaptation of any literary work ever? Challenge me.
A Tale of
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for PlayStation 1.
Challenge me.
No.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for PlayStation 1.
No.
Bullshit. That game is great.
Did you guys ever play the
like Ben? This is made with so much love and care.
Oh yeah.
From the book to
Yeah.
the look. Harry Potter's a good game adaptation. Did I say it was a good game adaptation of the book? No, it's a good game adaptation of the movie. Although I will grant you that the game includes Peeves the Poltergeist, which the film never did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm excited to play Scott Pilgrim versus the World so freaking bad.
Have you played it before?
Never. I never had a chance to.
Ben, like
So
it's
good.
like
I played it with Sparks way back in the day.
I love it. It's perfectly like your game. Like it's an old school like side-scrolling brawler. Like it's so fun. It's hard as shit, dude. Like I played that by myself, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna beat this game.
Oh man, I worked so hard to buy the thing in the store that makes you immortal.
Aladdin?
Oh,
I'm like,
Mag asks you about Aladdin.
Wait, are you talking about the... Yeah, because... Are you talking about the Genesis and the SNES?
The video game adaptation is in fact of the movie, not the book.
Mm.
at least the only ones I'm aware of.
Those are still actually good games, and they actually did re-release that in the launch.
A book to a game.
Yeah.
Which is rare.
It is
but
rare.
Scott Pilgrim is 100% the best.
And that art style, just the art style that's straight from the book too. It looks so gorgeous.
Heck yeah.
So beautiful.
I'm so glad they're doing this. There were a
And-
lot of rumors and hopes.
It's 4-player, and it comes with all the DLC, so we can all beat up X's together.
Yes. It's always been 4-player, but I'm glad that they are keeping it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased that this is coming to the newer consoles, because good golly, Miss Molly, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, needed to keep existing.
Yeah.
My bad, Witch Historian. I actually really do feel bad about that. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. So we got a new title for a game that was once called Gods and Monsters, in the form of Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
That's a bad name.
That's a terrible name. It's a great looking game.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I've been excited about this since they originally announced it as Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
Visually, this looks awesome.
Ben.
I'm all about this visual
Yeah.
style of Greek mythology.
Did you watch the gameplay trailers for this at all?
I watched the main trailer for this one.
So just a CG trailer?
Yeah, just see Joe.
Okay.
How's the gameplay look for it?
It is, and not a bad thing, the most clone of Breath of the Wild I've ever seen in my entire life. There's a stamina meter. You can climb everything. There's durable weapons. You go to high places to fall where you need to go. It's open world. You get your powers from the gods, which are bosses, and there's multiples of them. That's not a bad thing, though. The game looks dope as hell. If you're going to take inspirations, you take it from one of the greatest games ever made, which Breath of the Wild absolutely is. More games need to take inspirations from Breath of the Wild, and it's sad that they haven't. This game looks sick. It's perfect parts Zelda with all the Ubisoft. All the games are the same. It has the HUD of Assassin's Creed with like the two things on the side. It looks super fun. Greek mythology is
very
great.
colorful, very vibrant.
Yes, I got my Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and that's fantasy, but much more of like a realistic thing. And this is just straight fun, like just straight fun. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I really agree. Brandon, the Titan Typhon is in it, and I just think it's really great that the design of Destroya from Godzilla is still getting work.
Hell yeah.
You know me so well.
It's got the darkness tentacles after.
Jesus.
No, because the trailer for Immortals: Phoenix Rising, it looked like the main character was like switching weapons. Like,
Now I want to know. Now, real quickly, I want to know: is this in fact going to be a sequel to The Immortals with Henry Cavill?
No, it's a sequel to the 1998 drama called Gods and Monsters. I think that's why they changed the name, because
With
that's
Ian McKellen and yeah.
exactly, yeah. I don't know why
So-
I don't know why you need to change the name, but I think this name's really
this game, yeah, I hate the name. The game looks great though, because when I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh, so you get to like you go from an axe to a sword. You have wings. It's like, wow, that actually looks pretty neat.
I like the idea. I really like the idea that the narration is coming from Zeus and Prometheus chatting.
Also, it's a create a character, so that redheaded character is not what the character looks like. You create.
Oh, cool.
It's like it's actually really robust. You can be like green and like
be
purple
whatever
and
gender design you want.
Yeah. you can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, character
All
creation.
right.
You do you.
Or Greek mythology.
Vibrant skin colors.
Yeah.
All right, Riders Republic.
Hey guys, how do you feel about extreme sports?
So there is
How
a
do you guys feel about Fall Guys?
Hey,
hey.
Together.
Because that's what it feels like this is.
So fun fact, I used to be a huge fan of extreme sport video games back in the day.
I used to be a fan of all extreme sports.
Nice.
High five,
This virtual high five.
Power.
Woogity, 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 woogity.
Wiggity. Yeah, this game actually looks pretty fun. I mean, I saw the gameplay trailer, I saw the cinematic trailer for it, and it looks rad. I love how you go to different national parks and you ride all throughout. Like Bryce Canyon looks gorgeous, Mammoth Mountain looks beautiful, Yosemite looks beautiful. It all looks gorgeous, and it looks really fun. It's like, just go and do you. Have fun. As long as you ride, you're awesome.
So Ubisoft makes tons of types of extreme sports games. Like they had a game called Steep, which is all about snowboarding, and they've done like SSX Tricky and like, you know, they do racing games and all that shit. But like this one is just like, what if we just put all the sports into this one big multiplayer game where you can just do all the things at once with all your friends? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. I like a good sports game every once in a while. It's been a couple of years. So I think this one might be it, because it looks like it's a mix of all the things instead of just one.
Yeah, you got skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, jetpacks.
T-Rex costumes.
Yeah, and also just all the silly costumes you'd expect.
Yeah. Like, I remember watching the massive bike ride race, and there was a dude in a giant giraffe costume. I was like,
I would be that guy. Oh, yeah.
So apparently, after Toys R Us closed, Jeffrey took up extreme sports.
Ubisoft, like all their games are always like super colorful and have personality. Like all their press conferences are like that. So I hope this game ends up being good, because I would like to play it. I would like to do some cool mountain biking.
Yeah. Okay. Far Cry VR.
Not what I expected.
Nope, not me either. I was expecting like a PlayStation VR thing, but not a thing like you go to the void for.
Yes. So it's definitely like it's an on rails like hour-long experience, 30-minute experience. I don't know. Of course, they're using Far Cry 3, which again is the most famous one that everyone loves to go back to. That bad guy Voss is like one of the video game's greatest antagonists. He's dope as hell, which is again why they're using him so much. I mean, I'm not going to go to a VR center anytime soon, and I sure as shit would rather do Avengers or Star Wars than Far Cry. I think it's weird that Far Cry is the one that they chose, because they didn't even choose the old Far Cry where you have like superpowers. It's like the one where you're just trapped on an island.
Does anyone know where that facility is located in?
No.
There's a Void facility in Glendale, and there's a Void facility obviously on.
It's not the Void.
It's not the Void.
That's not. It's a different company altogether.
Yeah, like Zero Latency or something. Like it's like a different VR company.
Oh.
Yeah.
It will maybe.
Yeah.
If I have the opportunity, it looks better than that Terminator one that came out a couple of years ago.
Agos, a game of space VR.
Oh yeah, this is the mining simulator one where you're like
This
in space.
one
and
is
shit.
also VR.
Yeah. Hey man, VR is cool. It's not on the PlayStation VR, so I probably won't play it. But this is a game where you're the last colony leaving Earth to go inhabit a new planet, and you just got to make your way, and you got to avoid asteroids, and you got to like be a cool spaceman and your space visor, and like use drones to destroy things in your way. This looks like a hella cool game that I would play if I had a cool VR rig.
Right.
But I don't. No VR rig.
Feels like something I'd see in the tech museum these days.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Tech.
I've been there.
All right. Monster Prom 2. Anybody see this one?
I couldn't find a new trailer.
We didn't even know what
because
this
this
was.
game has been out for over a year.
It's weird. It was on the list.
That's weird.
But
Did you get it from like a website that had all the games listed, or?
Yeah.
Okay, because I watched it. I watched the press conference and I don't remember saying anything about it.
Maybe it was an accident. What about Ghost Recon Breakpoint?
That's one we don't need to talk about. That is a DLC to a 3-year-old game.
The Crew 2.
That's another one we don't need to talk about.
Then we're done.
Yep.
Then we're done. All right.
What's happened
So guys, we're all excited for King in Black, I'm assuming.
Not at all.
Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, Venom event. Well, we got some news on some of the new tie-ins for the King in Black. We're going to see King in Black Namor be a 5-issue miniseries with Kurt Busiek writing, Ben Dewey and Jonas Scharf on art. Spider-Woman number 7 with its creative team, and Black Cat number 1 launching with King in Black, Jed McKay and CF Via.
That book is getting relaunched into an ongoing because apparently it was critically acclaimed and sold enough when they didn't expect it to. So I think that's hella cool. Good for you, Black Cat. Good for you.
As well as King in Black Immortal Hulk is coming, and I just wanted to read the description for this one because I think this sounds really cool. This is written by the Immortal Hulk writer of Al Ewing with art by Aaron Kuder. It reads, "The Hulk is in a bad place. Half of his alter egos are dead or missing, including Bruce Banner. and the leaders got the rest of him on the ropes. But never let be said that Joe Fixit doesn't know how to have a good time. And he's out to make sure this is the best holiday the Hulk's ever had. He just has to fight his way through a planet of symbiotes first.
Sounds good to me.
But probably the one that we were all, I'll say, excited is King in Black, Iron Man, Doctor Doom #1, with the Iron Man and Doctor Doom writer of Christopher Cantwell, with art by Salvador Larroca.
Who is the artist on the Doctor Doom book he's on?
Yep. Well, I'll just read it. Iron Man has risked everything to save Eddie Brock, but now he's left with nothing but guilt. As longtime frenemy, Doctor Doom shows up with both counseling words and ulterior motives. They'll be forced to battle an all-too-familiar specter of the holiday season, albeit one now twisted and controlled by the recent invasion of Earth by the symbiote homeworld. As Iron Man and Doom fight as temporary allies, their unexpected encounter, both with each other and a horrifying invasion of Yuletide joy, may ultimately reveal to them the true meaning of nullness.
Don't forget, Santa Claus is also a mutant.
Yes.
So this book is incredible. I'm going to buy every variant cover possible. It's Iron Man and Doctor Doom fighting evil Santa Claus. Just give it to me. Are you kidding me? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I love it.
You know,
Right?
I feel like you guys told me that in the Marvel Universe, Santa Claus was a mutant. I feel like you told me that before. I don't know why. I'm like,
hey man,
are you
it's
serious?
Chris Claremont in like 70s and 80s. So like, why not? Santa Claus, mutant.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, I think that sounds really cool. You put Santa Claus in something like this. That's exciting.
Santa Claus symbiote. Like the reindeer are going to be symbiotic. Like, are you kidding me? They're going to be fighting evil reindeer?
It's crazy because of Empire's postponement due to the coronavirus. It was already crazy to have like 2 alien invasion story events in 1 year.
It's true.
But now to have them like only 2 months apart.
That poor universe that can't catch a break.
It's like we just beat the plant people.
Now it's the new people.
Speaking of mutants, we've heard about Children of Adam, Vita Ayala, and Bernard Chang's new X-Men book. We finally have a new release date of January.
It's a red issue, guys. That means you got to pick it up.
Yep, it's important.
It's a red issue.
Thank goodness.
This was delayed. This was initially supposed to come out before we all locked down, and now it's coming out in January after Ten of Swords.
Yep.
When it was supposed to be before.
I'm just so glad that they decided not to cancel the book, because like January is like almost a year after that book was supposed to be coming out. So the fact that they believe in it and they still want to put it out, and it's still they're still calling it a red issue, like they want you to pick it up. And for those not reading, red issues in the X-Men checklist mean they're super important to the story. So whatever this new team of X-Men, the new mutants, we'll find out what they're about. Hella excited.
Yeah, another X-Men book to read.
Yeah.
All right, guys, do you like RoboCop?
I love RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop's pretty cool.
What would you say? I'll be honest with you, I haven't revisited that movie in a long time, so I can't say love. But
I promise you,
I enjoyed it.
RoboCop is just as good as Starship Troopers, and I hope you've watched that recently. They're both satirical masterpieces.
Yeah, the one with Michael Keaton and Samuel L. Jackson was pretty good.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Right. Anyway, so a prequel series based in the universe of the original RoboCop is coming, being centered around Dick Jones, the corrupt OCP executive in the movie.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Dick Jones. He's great. What's his name? The detective from Twin Peaks who passed away, Manuel Ferreira. He's in that movie. He could have been in this or something. Is there more to that, or is that the synopsis?
So it goes. We don't really know what that's about. It is being developed by Edward Numier, who he is the co-writer of the original movie, and he is the co-writer of RoboCop Returns, coming someday. So he's helping develop this show. But he had a quote that I only quoted this one thing because I liked it a lot. It has all the cool stuff about RoboCop, except no RoboCop.
Now, normally you'd read a quote like that and like, wow, that sounds stupid. But the world of RoboCop is so interesting and so fun because it is this futuristic, like police authoritarian satire. So of all the types of shows that like it's a prequel without the main character, this is one I would be interested in, because it'd be like a satirical futuristic Mad Men. And that is really interesting. Like and Dick Jones, like all these corporate assholes who do everything they can to keep in power and like get involved with the police. And like I see the story there, especially if they have the original guy who wrote the movie. That makes me kind of excited. Mm-hmm. If he's the one behind this, then he believes in his own world enough. But also, who knows?
Anything can be good.
Yeah.
I hope that they bring a whole lot of really good forethought to how they handle this, because this has never been a more important issue to have in a show.
For real. Like, oh my God.
Police authority.
Oh God.
Authority.
Guys, RoboCop is like the most important movie maybe right now in America. Like, no joke. That movie's all about it's all about the shit we're going through right now. It's horrible.
Yeah, so I hope that they just really think carefully about how they execute this.
And again, with the original guy being involved, like he was thinking this back in the 80s already. So like now with 30 years or 40 years of old life experience, I can imagine this being super dark and satirical. Let's just hope a studio will allow it to happen, because like, hey, let's make RoboCop without RoboCop sounds really weird.
Yeah. All right. Anything would be good.
Yeah.
So this happened a couple months ago, apparently, but we're just finding out about it now. Venture Brothers has been canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While in production of its 8th season, I understand.
Right.
Wow. Didn't it? It wasn't. It didn't get canceled before, did it? It just because like didn't it have like
has the show ever been canceled before? I think it was on a cancel block, but
because I remember it having like a long break before it came back, right?
It has long breaks all the time.
Yeah.
The last like 4 seasons have had 2 years between.
Okay, yeah, it's not consistent like most shows are.
No.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting because
it's taken 17 years to put out 7 seasons.
Yes, that's what I mean, because I remember watching that show when I was very young. It's just crazy to think like I didn't know that show kind of wasn't already canceled, because I don't keep up with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, the last season was really solid. Someone put out a piece where they were talking about canceling Venture Brothers right now is like stopping the MCU before Endgame, and I'd agree with that. I think there's a lot of things that they've put in the character development of the main cast and the B cast throughout the seasons of the show, and to end it here, so many unanswered stories. To end it here is rough. It's not a show where I think at a certain point no one who was watching the show was ever concerned about not getting closure, because the show was so quality. And they're just going to let them tell the whole story. Whatever they want to do, they'll stop it when they decide they want to stop it.
It is so weird that they've been on this road for so long and like they cancel it now after everything they've already gone through. Yeah. It's kind of, I guess it's pandemic. Maybe
they did blame the pandemic in part.
I suppose. I think that
maybe it was an excuse to get rid of it.
I think this is still partially related to like higher ups of AT&T making choices, or maybe even Adult Swim itself making preliminary choices so AT&T doesn't. Either way.
So Adult Swim, so interestingly you say that, Adult Swim tweeted recently, we also want more Venture Brothers and have been working with Jackson and Doc to find another way to continue the Venture Brothers story.
Yeah. So it definitely doesn't sound like it was Adult Swim.
Well, so it's definitely feels like something where it's a response to a lot of like other things we've heard about, like Warner Brothers DC. This is all the same company
cutting the cord,
cutting costs and everything. And this has happened to another show on Adult Swim. People who are fans of it, Metalocalypse famously was kneecapped at knowing it was going into its end game. What happened is that the show had run for its seasons, then it did a film, and then there was going to be a limited series to end the story of Metalocalypse, and the fans have been refused that. Adult Swim has refused to make it. And they won't, and the crappy thing is that the creator of Metalocalypse wants to make it on his own, and Adult Swim won't let him. Because they own the rights, and they won't let him. And that's been shitty for the fans. So Venture Brothers is sitting in a similar nexus right now, where like a lot of people are just like, we need more of this story. It's in a place where we really need more. You can't just stop here. This is terrible for a show that's very beloved, has had a loyal audience. It's a little bizarre.
HBO Max is said to be looking into keeping it going also. So
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it gets picked up, because like this. It has been going for so long, and it is critically loved. Like all of it.
I'd say like I wouldn't be shocked if it gets picked up either. but I also wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't because of how long I've watched that Metalocalypse campaign be beaten down and not gotten anywhere. It's hard to believe that, Venture Brothers can be saved, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just kind of par for the course.
All right. Not
to mention the amount of other shows we've seen get the axe prematurely at Cartoon Network and Adult Swim as well. To name a few would be like OKKO, which I've talked about before, prematurely canceled. Even Steven Universe, we later found out was its 5th season was rushed to its finale, and then they decided to let them make the movie, and then they decided to give them a limited series to tell more story. But there was meant to be more of that original series, and they were cut short as well. Titan's a fantastic pull.
Oh man,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Good job.
Wonderful Tartakovsky series killed way too soon.
Got that Prime season 2.
All right, so we also got confirmation that Nev Campbell is going to be returning as Sidney Prescott in the new Scream movie.
I thought this was old news.
They confirmed David Arquette and then they confirmed Courtney Cox, and so I felt like this was kind of inevitable because how do you do the 2 and not bring back the 3rd?
Yeah.
I still don't know how I feel about it.
Force Awakens.
Sure.
Get them all back.
Marley Shelton is also returning from reprising their role from Scream 4.
That's really cool.
Which one was
She's
she?
the blonde lady cop who's a fan of her. They went to school together.
Okay.
And she was in. People are hoping that more characters will get the chance to return as well from what was established in Scream 4. Those that survived.
Yeah.
The whole point with Lovecraft Country.
I think about it's sticking around.
I'm not sure. But my only thing is that I don't want them to kill Sydney because I feel like she's been able to go through too much to be killed at this point. Scream 4 kind of really rode that line. Like, if you were going to kill her, it was in 4.
Yeah.
It had to happen in 4, and now we've missed that boat. So if she can't be killed, I don't really want this to be a movie about how Sydney can't be killed.
Isn't this the Ready or Not people? Right? Is that the team behind this?
Yes, I believe so.
I want to believe, because that movie's dope, so I want to believe that they have enough like love for the franchise to know not to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you'd hope so.
This is kind of the thing where, like, what we don't know is we know that they're returning. I'd really like to believe that they are returning in a Force Awakens kind of capacity.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be the main characters this time. I do want them to be kind of like people on the sidelines. I want a whole new main cast of characters who are actually truly a main cast of characters, not like Scream 4 kind of splitting the difference.
Yeah.
Sure. They also rounded out the cast with Dylan Minnette, Mason Gooding, and Mickey Madison.
Yeah.
So they're going to do it.
They're going to scream.
I'm stoked. I'm cautiously optimistic.
It is cool.
It can't.
Yeah. Every time we get like a new, like a remake or a reboot or a sequel, like years later, I'm like, oh, but what if that's not good?
I think back to like just like a year or two after Scream 3 ended, and how long people wanted a 4th one, and it reached a point where everyone was convinced it'll never happen, and then it did, and that was stunning, and I can't believe we're getting a 5th. And but it also still feels weird because Wes isn't involved. And that's the other end of it. So we'll see.
Yeah,
got to pass that torch.
One of the things that we talked about before is how excited we were for Time Lord Victorious, the new kind of BBC initiative
going on right now.
In
the UK, they have an escape room.
That's so cool.
Oh yeah, that's dope as hell.
Well, we just found out that another part of Time Lord Victorious will be a YouTube animated series based on the Daleks, the Doctor's main adversary. Reads a 10-episode animated series for free on the BBC YouTube channel. The Dalek Empire comes up against a terrible force. The Daleks' plundering of the archive of Islos unearths something ancient and deadly. Soon Skaro is under attack, and the Dalek Emperor is on the run. Can the Daleks defeat their adversaries and regain their planet, even with help from an old enemy? I'm assuming a doctor. Will this be the end of the Daleks?
No, it won't. Spoilers. They've lasted this long. They're not going away yet.
Spoilers. They were completely eradicated and restored a few years later. Like, it'll never happen.
So cool. I'm excited for Time Lord Victorious still. I have yet to read some of it, but I've got the comic coming.
Yeah, I have yet to dive in, but I will be. There's a lot of time because they've announced titles all the way up to January, and there's still more unannounced things to come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a big event thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of big event things, Wonder Woman 84 has been pushed back again. The original date of October 2nd, now December 25th.
Hey guys, you know what else comes out in December that's a Warner Brothers property?
I'm
Dune?
guessing it's...
Dune.
Oh yeah.
Guess what's getting pushed to next year?
Dude.
Dude.
I'd even argue, do you guys really think Wonder Woman 84 doesn't get pushed into next year?
It might.
I'm certain.
I'm willing to bet it.
You're certain it doesn't, or certain it does?
I'm certain it does.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think
I
after
would be shocked
Tenet.
if it keeps its December date, but if it
After
gets pushed back
Tenet.
again, I'm like, all right.
Tenet didn't do well. Not well enough for it. Actually did really well, not in America, but in America because there's not enough theaters open and
Because no one can see.
yeah, it made $20 million, and that is an expensive movie, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was like, oh shit, Wonder Woman is also an expensive movie. Push, and they're just gonna keep pushing it. No big movies. Guess what? You have like 5 more months to read Dune. Lucky
Like
us.
I really want to go back to movie theaters.
I do too.
I want to go see
Same here.
movies. I also want to feel comfortable.
Yes.
And the thing is, we can't just pretend that everything's better because it isn't.
Yeah.
Like, even though we keep slowly opening things up, we're not better because a whole bunch of people, all the same people who didn't take it seriously, have still not been taking it seriously the whole time.
It's true.
So our risk levels have been constant.
We're about to open up again.
Oh
Ooh.
man, like for real, open up.
Like half capacity, but yeah, because money is important, y'all.
Yeah. Candyman was also pushed from its October 16th date.
Sent back to schools next week. That's in our area. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Do I have to move my car now?
I don't know if it's Chino'd yet, but I'll check.
So Candyman's original date was October 16th. It has now been moved to sometime in 2021.
That's scary.
I'm glad Nia DaCosta put out a Twitter post about it. Like, this is I thought it was really lovely. She says that this film is meant for the community to experience together. Just the general, like, the whole community is meant to encounter this as a group. And I really would prefer that they push that and go for that.
Yeah.
I don't want Candyman to get the same treatment Antebellum is.
Yeah. I like again.
Although
Like,
apparently Antebellum isn't good.
oh no!
Regardless
That's why it's
of
on
that,
VOD.
regardless of that, I did not. Candyman's a high profile, very important black lead horror film.
Mhm.
I do not want it to be pushed to VOD when other things aren't.
Yeah. It seems like the
Sure.
studio knows it has a hit too, because it's like, yo, we don't mind pushing it.
I've seen this stuff about Antebellum, and I still want to watch it anyway and
Yeah.
make my own choice
I
because
just want to know
I'm
what
not-
it is.
because I don't entirely trust every review I read.
Okay. The Walking Dead had some pretty important news this week.
Did they? I don't know.
Well, it's ending.
What?
The series is going to come to an end after season 11. Season 11 will be a huge 24-episode season,
Wow.
the longest season, and will be split between 2021 and 2022. But it is not the end of The Walking Dead for I called it the Daryl and Carol show.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Is coming. AMC has greenlit a spin-off series focused on fan favorite characters Daryl Dixon and Carol Pelletier.
I never knew her last name. Wow, there we go.
It's going to come out in 2023 and will be overseen by The Walking Dead showrunner Angela Kang. It is co-created by Kang and the executive producer Scott Gimple.
Scott's been there from the beginning. That's cool. Man, I wonder how much money they're giving those two guys, because 11 seasons on a show and then a spin-off show, like they've been on that. They're going to be on that show for 15 years. That's like Supernatural. Like that's insane.
I mean, for the actor who played Carol,
She's been there since episode like 1, isn't she?
and that was her big. Like, she wasn't even like on the actor's path when she was in that.
That's
show.
not true,
She was
because I
like-
just watched The Mist, and she's in The Mist in 2007, which is 4 years.
But I
before
mean,
that.
like she wasn't like blowing up.
No,
And then
of course, The
this-
Walking Dead is her show.
But the thing is, she's right in that spot where you become that character, and it's almost impossible for other people to cast you as anything else.
Oh yeah.
And so I understand, like, kind of being like, well, I'm this character until I'm not this character, I guess.
Because I don't think I've ever seen her in anything else,
right?
Like ever, besides another Frank Darabont joint.
Norman Reedus could kind of get away with something else, but I think he's got
Death Stranding. He's fine,
but he's also tightly into that similar hole.
Well, I mean, The Walking Dead also, like he was in the Boondock Saints, and he was an actor for 10 years before The Walking Dead,
for sure.
But The Walking Dead is what made him Hollywood's dirty boy.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because he doesn't shower.
We also still have those Rick Grimes movies coming, I guess.
Yep. Oh my God, those are definitely still happening.
I forgot about that.
We also have Tales of the Walking Dead, which is going to be an anthology series set in the Walking Dead universe.
Is that another TV show?
Yep.
I mean, this new one looks good, but like,
World Beyond is I'm really
the most I've ever been excited for a Walking Dead.
But then I also got a little sad because we were watching. We'll talk about it later, the World Beyond thing. And and I sat there and I went, we're going to see Rick Grimes' daughter, like older, show up in this show. It's going to happen.
It's going to be a young lady.
So they're going to find some bullshit reason for her to show up.
Jilly Bean?
Judy?
My name's Judy. We don't talk about Judy.
I don't know.
That's a Twin Peaks reference. Anyway, hey, it's me. I'm that girl from that show. I got my like my dad.
All right, but we'll talk about it now. World Beyond had a new trailer this week, and it looks really good.
It does.
I was sold on the last one. This one didn't really do anything new to sell me. I almost prefer not seeing anymore, to be honest.
It showed me more of what I hoped the show was.
Right, yeah. And I'm like, I at this point, I just want to discover it for myself. I'm stoked about that. That concept is fantastic. I'm really excited for it.
Like the new generation,
Which gives me hope for all the rest of this Walking Dead stuff. But I don't know. I haven't watched The Walking Dead in years.
Same. Yeah. But yeah, this new one, like, it looks like they got, like, there's color, there's like it doesn't just look like another Walking Dead show. Like, what's the Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
I watched like 3 episodes of that show and I'm like, oh, this is more of that, I guess. Okay.
That is The Walking Dead.
Showing episodes?
Locations.
Are they showing episodes of season 11 now? I thought they were on season 10 still.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm walking.
No, I think they're on 10 at this moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. That comment was a while ago.
Sorry, it's so tough to take care of.
No, I get it. I don't know what that's necessarily exactly about. So
sorry.
Okay, Monsterland also had a trailer. This is the Caitlin Dever, what's her name? Jesus, Kelly Marie Tran, anthology show.
Yeah, man. It's based off a novel about American lake monsters. So, like, I guess this trailer definitely shows more that it is an anthology, but like I think it looks awesome. Yeah. Like different types of American water monsters.
Yeah, this show looks freaking creepy.
Mm-hmm. All water based. It's a water Pokemon.
Because one of them was a mermaid.
No, it's mermaids. It's sirens. It's all types of water folklore. Yeah.
Oh, great.
I think Kelly Marie Tran is the vampire.
Maybe. Ooh.
I don't know. Looks good. I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
We are getting to the time of spookies. Bring on the spooks.
Does anybody remember what Adam Sandler said when he said that if he doesn't get nominated for an Oscar for Uncut Gems, he's going to make the worst movie ever?
I sure do. He did win an Independent Spirit Award for Uncut Gems, and I made you watch the speech for it. So this looks like half a bad movie.
Hubie Halloween.
Is it Hubie?
Coming to Netflix. Hubie.
Oh, I thought it was Hubby. Oops. Ew. Hubie.
Yeah, it's Hubie.
Okay. Hey, man.
All right.
Hey, man.
Look, I'm not immediately against it.
It doesn't look as offensive as half of the other movies he's put out in the last couple of years. I'll say that.
Right.
There were some good jokes, but then I'm like, well, it also has us All Your Friends in it again, and I'm like, I'm kind of over those movies, but also there's a lot of Saturday Night Live people in it, and they look funny, so it's half a good movie.
And Keane Thompson was in it.
So that's enough.
Yeah,
for me.
That's true. Yeah.
I saw Keane Thompson. I'm like, hey, Keane Thompson's there. That's awesome.
I'm nothing if not a Halloween shill.
Oh no, dude, I'm with you.
I really like 2 solid jokes in this, which is the one where
the thermos.
It's the third. Well, the thermos where he throws it and he brings it back. And I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But that's good. And the other one is when he comes into the office the third time past Keane Thompson and he says, I heard a voice in the sewer. And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if he just would have made this a secret Waterboy sequel, and that's just Bobby Boucher, I would have loved it because he kind of sounds a little bit like Bobby Boucher with the mustache,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, he's back
Yeah,
to character stuff. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I we'll see. I talked to friend of the show Matt about it, and
Is he an Adam Sandler stan?
Yeah,
Awesome.
and we were just talking about it, and I was like, there's something kind of comfortingly nostalgic about it that I just really appreciate in this year of our crisis 2020.
Like this could have came out in like 1999. Like, yeah,
and
Wait,
then
it's a real crisis situation. The skies are red.
and that just like seeing that and it being related to Halloween, I'm like, I'm more here for it than I'm not. Just make me feel nice, and I'm not gonna mind how maybe not good you are,
as long as it's not like super offensive.
Yeah.
Like
Then
some
just
of his
make me
movies
feel.
could be.
Then just make me feel okay.
Yeah.
The comeback trail. I saw this one looking through some of the trailers, and I thought this was pretty interesting.
Oh, you mean the producer?
Yeah, the producers, the movie.
Yeah.
This is like almost like even the character beat for beat looks like the producers. Like you got the Nazi analog, you got like the lady analog.
Zach Braff is Matthew Broderick, Robert De Niro is Nathan Lane.
Like I'm like, wow, this is so the producers, but not like in a bad way. This is also a remake of an old '80s movie, so like there's precedent to do the producers back then too, I guess.
When I first watched this trailer, I didn't make the producers connection, and now that you mentioned it, I was like, oh shit, it is the producers.
Oh, dude, so like it's like we're gonna make a fake movie. Whoops! It looks like it might be a good movie. Like,
well, he can't die.
Yeah. He's got 9
Tommy
lives.
Lee Jones just won't die.
Yeah,
I do love just simply you selling me on an idea of Robert De Niro is trying to kill Tommy Lee Jones in a movie so he can pay back Morgan Freeman, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Actually, after I was done watching this trailer, I was really excited for it. I was like, man, I really want to see this movie. This movie looks funny.
Robert De Niro has never in his life looked more like my father.
You're so right.
I know.
That's funny.
I never met your dad, so I wouldn't know that. But one of the things I was actually going to say that I liked about this is Robert De Niro. I'm assuming he's done comedy before. He was in freaking Shark's Tale. But the last
Grandpa.
What?
Bad Grandpa.
Oh yeah, he was in that.
Comedy 35 years ago.
All right.
Meet the parents.
Meet the parents.
Can I finish my point, please? Shut up and let me talk. Damn.
Yes, sir.
I was saying the last few films I've heard or seen De Niro in are hardcore dramas, Scorsese films, like The Irishman. So I'm like, cool. He's actually letting loose and having fun for once. Awesome. I want to see it.
I will say, Ben, to counter that, The Irishman might be the only drama he's done in the last literally like 5 years. He has done almost nothing but comedies, like so many comedies.
You could make an argument for Joker, but like he's not really being.
He's a talk show host. He's a comedy guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Analyze this.
Analyze this.
He wants us to review the comeback trailer. And honestly, I forgot that De Niro was in the Joker, or was in Joker.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's in a movie called What Just Happened, which he plays a movie producer trying to get a Sean Penn movie made. And that's a comedy about Hollywood movie making too, but way less comedy than this, like more kind of like realistic comedy. But that's also a good Robbie D movie. Bobby D.
Yeah. All right, Console Wars.
Real quick, did you catch the boldest thing about the trailer? The tagline?
No.
At the end of the trailer, it says, "Come back to theaters November."
Oh,
VOD.
That's bold.
VOD. Come back to theaters. Come back.
Oh, I caught it. I caught it.
All right. The Console Wars, a documentary from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, based on the book that Ben is going to talk about right now.
I don't know, guys.
Years
I
in
gotta
the
say,
making.
just like, who cares?
I do.
He's joking, Ben. I also care. This has been like does it say on your book that it's being made into something? Because this is in the work
book on the back of Blake, the author Blake J. Harris's biography. It's saying that, or like little, I don't know what the fuck you call it. I forget.
Blurb.
Yeah, on his little blurb, it's saying that he is co-directing it with Scott Rudin, Seth Rogen, and Evan Goldberg, and he's also going to be executive producer on the feature film adaptation that's being done by Sony.
Oh, so they're still doing that? I thought that
I don't know anymore. Brian and I were actually looking it up beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought Seth Rogen was working on a movie, and it got turned into this.
No.
So there are 2 projects.
Yeah. Apparently there are 2 projects. One's going to be like a biopic style, and then we have this one, which makes me happy because it's a more in-depth look. Like Tom Kalinske, the former CEO and president of Sega America, was just on High Score, and he was firmly featured on the 4th episode, which was all about Sega trying to bring the fight to Nintendo. The only thing that bugs me is that this is on CBS All Access, and I need to beg Brandon for access so I could watch the damn thing.
Beg him for access.
Ben, don't you mean get it yourself? A good consumer in our capitalist community where you are being live recorded?
It's called a free trial, my guy.
Oh, yeah, free trial. I forgot about those.
7-day free trial.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. It's a more in-depth look. I've read the book. I love the book, and it's about an hour and a half long. So I'm looking forward to go back into my favorite era of video games, between the fight between Sega and Nintendo that shaped a console generation.
I'm excited for it too.
All right. Star Trek Discovery Season 3 had a trailer. You guys are not caught up on Star Trek Discovery, so
I have no idea what's going on.
This is the season that takes place 900 years in the future from where they were, after the Federation has been destroyed from something called the Burn. I'm all caught up on Star Trek Discovery, so I wanted to touch on this. I think this looks pretty good. The tone is interesting. It's a lot lighter, and it seems like they are going into a kind of like progressively better show, something with a more lighter, fun tone. So I'm looking forward to the season.
Good.
That's really all I wanted to talk about. Wolf Walkers. This would be interesting. This is the Apple TV Plus by the creators of Secret of Nim, correct?
I'm not sure about that, but it is the same team from The Song in the Sea.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that.
I think they would have mentioned.
I mean, that same studio made it, but I don't know if it's the same team.
Like creative team.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about Secret of Nim in the credits. They were saying from the team that brought you The Song of the Sea. I'm like, oh, okay.
I like the animation.
Yeah, it looks super pretty.
Was that Sean Bean in the beginning? Did I hear that right?
Maybe.
He narrates everything, so probably.
Yeah.
Freaky, from the director of Happy Death Day. This looks really good.
It does.
Like the hot chick? Because now Vince Vaughn's getting his own The Hot Chick.
Yeah, what if the Hot Chick was a good movie?
That's a slasher movie at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Hot Chick is pretty horrific, let's be honest.
But it's horrific for different reasons.
Yes, because it's really bad and sexist. This looks really fun, and I love me a good Vince Vaughn, like when he cares. And just the premise is so silly, and it's like, what if Freaky Friday was also a slasher movie? And I'm like, that's just original enough for me to like it.
There's a bit at the end of the trailer when the Vince Vaughn in the girl's body was trying to convince the dude that it was her, and she is Booker.
Yeah, Booker. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
like Vince Vaughn having to be like a teenage girl, like that could be fun.
That could be fun.
That could be fun.
I'm actually really looking forward to this.
Yeah. When they are tackling on the football field and then it dissipates away into like the Aztec monument. Whatever. I'm like, what? And then it's like from the director of Happy Death Day, and I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, what is this going on?
Tell me it's in the Happy Death Day universe at the end, and I'll be so happy.
God, that main character shows up.
No, you don't even need any of the main cast from Happy Death Day. Just that same company they go to at the end of Happy Death Day.
Oh yeah, the sci-fi. Okay, yeah.
The shield of Happy Death Day. Yeah,
I forgot that is even a thing. Oh,
all right, and then the final trailer we've been waiting for a while. Dune.
Oh my God, I'm so excited! All right,
Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
Let me just ask, who cares?
That's a good point. Moving on, we're going to talk about some DC
FanDOME.
It's not like Ron has been weighing this all year long.
I said the second I saw that trailer, I'd start reading that book. So I'm going to start reading that book. Also, instead of having 3 months, we're probably going to have at least 6 months. So that's some extra time to read this book. Yeah. Hey, guys, not just because I'm biased, I think this trailer looked sick.
No, this trailer does look really freaking good.
Sick, you guys. Oh, my God. It's got the visuals. It's got the great song. They used Pink Floyd because Pink Floyd was going to be the original people who did the music for the first Dune, Jodorowsky's Dune. So they're bringing it full circle.
That is cool.
Dude, like all the acting or all the choices for actors are so good, and the Harkonnens, who are the bad guys, look so scary. And Batista, like, only having seen the movie and the 2 miniseries on Sci-Fi, it looks like they are doing all this stuff super well, but also like it's actually going to be a good movie this time, which is crazy. Denis Villeneuve is like my favorite modern filmmaker. Like I posted on Twitter, that dude has made five movies and all of them are almost flawless. Like that dude is so good, and all of his movies get slept on and underperform. All of them do. And this is his most expensive movie, and I'm so worried, especially because of the pandemic.
So I'll tell you, like, I'm stoked. I thought this looked really cool. I'm pumped. I really enjoy it. I don't know that it's marketing itself well enough because Megan watched it with me. Yeah. And Megan was like, I mean, I want to see it with you, but I don't know what this is about. Yeah. I don't know what's happening.
And it's something that he's already stated, like this is a 2-movie thing he wants to make. So like, it is it's so weird. It's like I guess watching a Star Wars trailer for the first time and like, wow, this is just all new stuff. Like I understand how it could be like overwhelming or confusing, but as long as you
like the thing that I'm saying is like what this trailer for her, she could not grasp what the story was supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, like she's just like, it's not the sci-fi elements or anything. It's not like it's too grandiose. She watches Marvel. She watches Star Wars. She's like, I don't know what it's about.
That's fair. This is the first trailer, so it is, I think, more of a tone piece, even though it's 3 minutes long. Even though it's 3 minutes long.
For sure.
Yeah, it does,
because it's so dense. I'm like, I feel like you got to be telling people what this is.
Oh yeah, and
especially for a film that supposedly is coming out in December.
It's not. Yeah,
you got, but theoretically, at the moment of releasing this trailer, you got to tell people what the story is.
Also, the problem is, Dune truly is one of the densest, most like Star Trek verbiage of like, unless you just want your trailer to be like, wow, the Bene Gesserits went to Arrakis to hang out with Duke Leto. That will make people scared of your movie if you have all that techno bullshit. So like, I understand, again, like Blade Runner 2049 marketing, like how do you market a movie that's so different?
Yeah.
So I understand, like, this isn't maybe the best representation of what it is, but it is space Game of Thrones. It is what Game of Thrones is inspired by. It is dueling houses fighting for the most valuable resource on in the galaxy, spice.
Right. And all I'm saying is like I am excited. I think it looks great. I thought this was an awesome trailer.
Yeah.
I love the elements of it. I am concerned for the same reason that you were just saying, which is like that people sleep on his films, and I'm like, just that being a standard already, and then this being Dune, which is so dense. Yeah. You've got to tell people what the story is in the trailer. Yeah. If it is hard to grasp, you got to make it clear. Yeah. This is one where you got to bullet point some stuff to say this movie's about this.
The only thing,
in the best way that you can.
The only thing they can do is really just Game of Thrones and be like, yo, these are the dueling houses, you know, a plague on both your houses, you know, Shakespeare shit.
I'd almost,
because like the visuals are absolutely selling this movie.
I'd almost rather one of those BS situations where like you get a narrator about the trailer, where like that narrator doesn't exist in the movie, but they are telling you what the movie's about in the trailer.
That makes sense.
So that you're getting the concept of it. That narrator will never exist in the movie, but they do exist in that trailer.
That's actually pretty smart.
And I think this needs it. Your guys' thoughts though?
Oh, I mean, I don't have much more to add than what you guys already said. I think it looks really good. I mean, I'm very in the dark on the story. I have no idea. The only things of Dune I know of are from like spoofs and parodies, and from Ryan, like the spot, like when he dips his hand in, you see the Galarian sand. I'm assuming that's the spice. I don't know, but that was just sand. I don't know. That was just sand. The sandworm was cool.
Yeah.
The sandworm looks interesting.
That's the godworm.
Oh boy. But
I love the designs.
Yeah, and it is so. I really would like you guys to watch the movie, the original Dune, just for comparison. Because one, it's David Lynch, so you are very familiar with his filmmaking. Yeah. This was his one attempt at making a blockbuster movie, and it's so cosmically bad. It's like, wow, I'm never working with Hollywood ever again, and it makes sense why. But Dune is such a property that like there's a reason it hasn't been touched in over 30 years, and they only tried to make a miniseries on Sci-Fi because there's so much to it. Like it's impossible to make one movie. That's why. This very much feels like a It situation. There's going to be chapter 1 and chapter 2. The book, even though I haven't read it, I do know that like there is some time shit involved where like decades are apart and stuff. So I think that he is splitting up in a way that the book isn't how it's written, which would be very interesting.
Right.
Because it would be like the stuff with Arrakis, like the planet of Dune, is in the last half of the book. So the fact that they're showing so much in this first movie makes me think that they're tonally or they're structurally changing the book, which we'll find out soon. Let me read it in the year or whatever.
Which really isn't that crazy because it did the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is why I brought it up. Another Warner Brothers property.
Yeah.
But I don't, like you were saying, Brandon. I don't think this movie is like a $200 million movie, and Dune is like one of the sci-fi things that nobody knows anything about unless you're 70 years old. You know what I mean? So I'm very curious. Like,
I just think back to like when the John Carter trailers were coming out and people weren't. Yeah, like those were pretty simple to understand, and people weren't sold enough on that idea. And I'm like, this is hard to know what it is.
Yeah. I go back to I think it was last week we talked about it some other time. I go to Godzilla King of the Monsters. Regardless of that movie, of the quality of the movie, those trailers were sick. Yeah. And those trailers showed you are getting a Godzilla fight movie that you've never seen before, and it did not bring audiences in. So like America has a serious problem with hardcore science fiction. Americans just don't like anything that's too fantasy or too science fiction unless it's like Lord of the Rings.
They have to be unless they're eased into it, MCU style.
Yeah, which good for them. Like they really made the cosmic ship real. Yeah. But like this is like the make or break for Denny Villeneuve. Like seriously, like this is the one where like Denny, if this doesn't work, we're gonna stop giving you these epic movies because nobody's watching them. Because Blade Runner bombed. And you guys saw that movie. That movie's amazing.
Yeah.
I just worry about this movie. I worry about the end of a franchise before it even starts. Because, man, I would love to see a bunch of these movies. And we're definitely still getting at least one season of that show. I just hope it's not the start of something cool and then it stops. Because we can have like the next decade of excellent hardcore sci-fi.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So DC FanDOME was this week. The second one.
Are we on topic?
Yes, we're on a topic. There's no theme for the topic, Ryan. Please.
Yes.
But it can't be that if you want. No. So DC FanDOME happened. It was the second week of DC FanDOME. They told us not a lot. It was not a big like reveal day. Mostly just talking about stuff. So we decided to pair up all the DC news into the topic as well as the FanDOME stuff.
Yep.
So real quickly, per the request of...
Sorry, real quick. That was kind of the weird thing is that a whole bunch of DC comic related news came out 2 days before FanDOME.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was weird. I was like, why are they doing this? Shouldn't this be the thing that we're seeing on Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of this FanDOME was recorded.
Yeah.
Where's he going?
Bathroom.
Oh. A lot of the FanDOME stuff from this week was recorded back in August. And a lot of the news that came out were from the solicitations that were released this week. But you're right, a lot of stuff. So per the request of Sparks, I am going to keep a recurring segment as well as it happens of the Ray Fisher situation. So this week we got some new developments in Ray Fisher's accusations towards Jeff Johns, John Berg, and Joss Whedon over stuff on the set of Justice League. This week, Kiersey Clemons, who plays Iris West in the Zack Snyder version of the film, who's completely cut from the Joss Whedon version, has shared her support, saying, "I stand with Ray Fisher." And Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself, has also released a statement saying, "I stand with Ray Fisher."
Right.
Oh, there you go. So
this is good. This is important and a big deal because I don't think that this is them doing it for clout. I think this is them. But I do wonder. I'm glad they're doing it, but I do still sit at this point where I'm like, why aren't more of our known Justice League cast members stating this with him? I do think it's like either I can't see the scenario where he's this deep in it publicly and more people like Ben Affleck or Gal Gadot aren't lending their voice to it and saying, he has a point or anything, and are kind of leaving him out there in the cold in a sense. Like even with Jason Momoa doing that, I'm like, Jason Momoa, say more.
Yeah.
Like if this was happening, if you're aware of anything, because otherwise, like specifically the thing that comes to mind is like the Jeff Johns stuff that Ray Fisher has talked about. If they don't really know that and can't speak to it, then cool, I get it. But the Joss Whedon abuse on set, I'm like, some of you have to know something about this. It has to have come up.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish more of them were speaking to that at this point, or at least I hope it comes out at some point for them to back him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all. That's my only thoughts on that. Thoughts on that?
I agree with everything you said that when I was in the bathroom. There was a post of all the characters cut from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Unfortunately, coincidentally, they're all people of color, and then all the people added in the new cut were all white people. Unfortunately,
it was Ryan Choi,
yeah,
Iris West, and what was the third one? I don't
recall. There's definitely more Silas Stone, Vic's dad.
Yeah, he has a completely different. He has a death scene, I think, in the original.
I just assumed there's way more cyborg stuff in general.
Yeah.
But his thing at the end is like accountability over entertainment. I appreciate him just continuing to fight for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this happened. This was not the FanDOME stuff that happened earlier this week. Batman, Catwoman, the Tom King, Clayman, Black Label series, 12-issue maxi series is finally coming.
Thank goodness.
Per the press release, it says the series will explore 3 different eras of time: the past, where Bruce and Selina first met; the present, and 80 years into the potential future. Complicating matters for the two lovers is the ever-present menace of the Joker, as well as Bruce's old flame, Andrea Beaumont, better known as the Ghastly Phantasm.
Yo, man, Clayman keeps dropping art, which means, it's December. It's coming out soon. But man, I'm just so ready for this book. I want it. I just want that Batcat.
I know it's not much, but that one frame of art of the Phantasm's eyes gets me so freaking hyped. It looks so rad.
Yeah. DC's got some, like, all their big, like, event books right now, like 3 Jokers and this book, like, they got some, like, truly insane artists. I can always count on them for that. I love that.
Yeah. Glad that it finally is on the lists.
A Batman Catwoman special will also release in June. So that should be 13 issues.
Hey, unlucky number 13. I love it.
Batman Black and White, the anthology series, is making a comeback. It's going to be a 6-issue prestige printed series with creators such as Paul Dini and Andy Kubert, Tim Seeley and Kelly Jones, Emma Rios, John Arcudi and James Harren, Gabriel Hardman and Karina Becco, J.H. Williams III coming back, Tom King and
Mitch. Good for him.
Tom King and Mitch Gerards, G. Willow Wilson and Greg Smallwood, Sophia Campbell, David Alia, Dustin Weaver, Bill Quist, Evely, Joshua Williamson and Riley Rossmo, James Tinian IV and Trad Moore.
That's everyone in DC right now.
Yeah.
Lee Weeks and Chip Zdarsky and Nick Bradshaw.
Those are
feels like a lot of the list for the Batman celebration issue.
Because it is.
Yeah.
That is, man, half of those people don't normally, a lot of those people are from like the Sandman universe. Like Bill Quist Everly is an insanely awesome artist. She's so dope. I don't read that book, but I follow her on Instagram and Twitter because her art's insane. Her on Batman's always cool to me, especially Black and White. Man, I love anthology books. I'll read it eventually.
I wish I look at some of these anthology books and I'm wondering, like, why doesn't G. Willow Wilson have an ongoing series with DC?
Because she was on Wonder Woman, now she's not on Wonder Woman anymore.
I know, it's just, give some of these people, don't give these people anthologies, give them like series.
Yeah, because DC's bad about representation, yes.
We've gotten teased for Endless Winter for a couple months now, and now we know what it is. Endless Winter will be the next December event from DC Comics, written by Ron Mars and Andy Lanning, with a rotating cast of artists. This is going to be a 9-issue weekly story, bookended by 2 specials called Justice League Endless Winter. The first one this is what the first one reads. This is the solicitation for it. The crossover event of the season begins here. The Justice League encounters an extinction-level global storm brewing at the former site of the Fortress of Solitude. Enter the Frost King, a monster mad with power with an army at his command. What devastating mystery lies in his past, and how does he tie to Queen Hippolyta, Swamp Thing, Viking Prince, and their reluctant ally, Black Adam. 2 timelines will reveal further clues and secrets throughout each chapter of this blockbuster tale. It's going to introduce the Justice League Viking.
So that sounds cool, and I do not mean any disrespect to Ron Mars or Andy Lanning, but this, now that I know what this whole event sounds like, it kind of sounds like a fill-in event. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm sure the book can be great, but Ron Mars writes like Red Sonja and like Dynamite books, and he hasn't really written much at DC recently. And I'm just he's like an old school guy, like an 80s and 90s guy. And Andy Lanning, I don't know the last time he wrote anything for DC. His bro, Dan Abnett, is all over DC. He's DC's fixer. He's on Odyssey right now. This seems like an okay thing. Like, okay. It's a weekly thing. Like they're pumping it out.
Right. So it's a 9-issue weekly series. All going to be out in December. So it's double week sometimes.
Is King in Black also December?
King in Black starts in December, but it's not all in December.
No, I know, but it starts. Okay,
yeah.
They're
there's like gonna be like a million tie-ins too.
Yeah.
Flash 767 will be part 2. Superman Endless Winter part 1. Part 3. Aquaman 66. Justice League 58. Teen Titans Endless Winter special. Justice League Dark 29. Black Adam Endless Winter special. And then ending with Justice League Endless Winter number 2.
Okay.
That's the whole event from December 1st to December 31st.
Interesting.
All right.
So we got some interesting. We actually got. I was looking forward to this. These look kind of cool. There's a triptych here though. Tales of the Dark Multiverse is coming back. Kind of heard about.
Real quick, and now I meant to bring it up, and then I thought about something else you were saying. Now we know Tom Taylor is not on Endless Winter, which leaves a question mark of where he is going.
Yeah, that's a good point, because he's ending Suicide Squad for something else.
We were all thinking it for a little bit that he was going to be on Endless Winter, and he isn't.
So after this thing happened, and we'll talk about Superman stuff, but the rumors of who might be taking over Superman just leaves me really disheartened, because it's just another boring white guy.
Is it Tom Taylor?
No,
we'll get there.
All right, so Tales of the Dark Multiverse is coming back. This is the Dark What Ifs that DC have been putting out. They have Hush and Flashpoint coming out soon, but now they are going to include Crisis on Infinite Earths with writer Steve Orlando and art by Mike Perkins. I'm not going to read the entire solicitation, but basically it's what if the Earth 2 universe had lived instead of the Earth 1 universe. So it's the JSA winning the Crisis.
I'm going to read this because Steve Orlando's writing it.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. There's War of the Gods by Vita Ayala and Ariel Olivetti.
Oh, Ariel Olivetti, so good.
This is basically the War of the Gods event, but in this case, Wonder Woman is taken over by Hecate from Justice League Dark, and so she doesn't want to save the world.
Into it, very into it.
And then Dark Knight's Metal. Tales of the Dark. So it's Dark Knight's Metal. I know. Written by Scott Snyder, Colin Kelly, and Jackson Lansing, with art by Carl Mostert and Trevor Scott. Basically, this is what if the Dark Knight's Metal, the Justice League hadn't won, and the multiverse was sunk into the dark multiverse.
So listen, I'm cool with like referencing like past events and stuff, because like I know Secret Wars, like they reference events from like 20 years ago or whatever. Yeah. Death Knight's Metal was the last event. Like it just happened. I'm like, wow, that's like, all right, cool. I'll read another Death Knight's Metal book in the metal book I'm already reading. Okay.
And then Dark Knight's Death Metal also announced some new tie-ins. Now I'm not going to go through them all because it's a lot to read, but Dark Knight's Death Metal: The Secret Origin #1 by Scott Snyder and Jeff Johns, with art by Ryan Benjamin. Dark Knight's Death Metal: The Last Stories of the DC Universe #1, written by a ton of people. It's an anthology book. And Dark Knight's Death Metal: The Last 52, War of the Multiverse is #1. Again, an anthology book. Now,
I might get that. That one sounds dope.
Yeah. The interesting thing about these ones were that they all have variant covers by Gary Frank. And all these variant covers form a triptych.
Uh-huh.
That was weird. until the next thing that dropped this week, which was Generations Shattered. Generations is apparently alive in a form. I did a lot of research on this one because I wanted to get this one right. Oh yes, Generations Shattered is what was originally going to be Generations 1, Age of Mysteries. But instead of the original writers, it's now Dan Jurgens, Robert Venditti, and Andy Schmidt, with art by Ivan Reis, Brian Hitch, Kevin Nolan, and more.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Right. So this is going to be out on January 5th, 2021. The solicitation is interesting in that it reads, a threat of cosmic proportion to DC's newest and oldest universe compelled one of the most unusual groups of heroes ever assembled to take on the most mysterious foe they have ever encountered. Join the original Batman, Commandy, Starfire, Sinestro, Booster Gold, Dr. Light, and Steel in their quest to save the universe before time runs out.
It's a very interesting group of heroes.
Yeah. So, this is going to be preceded by Detective Comics 1027, which is going to have a prequel called Generations Fractured, which is actually available online now. You can read it below. I put it in the links in the description. You can read, I think, the entire thing, but I kind of hope it's not. So that'll be in there. That story, written by the same Dan Jurgens. This story pits Batman against a would-be gang of museum vandals led by Calendar Man, as the Dark Knight tries to stop him from torching priceless artifacts. A mysterious flash of light appears to break reality, and Batman finds that everything is different in Gotham, as he's transported back to 1939.
Why do I have a gun?
Yeah, right. He goes, what?
It's like, what's this thing?
Now, if you want a refresher, Generations was initially going to be a series of 5 one-shots, that prestige one-shots that will lead into whatever the next event, rumored to be 5G, was.
Five generations? 5G?
Yeah. Generation 1, Age of Mysteries. Generation 2, Age of Metahumans. Generation 3, Age of Crisis. Generation 4, Age of Rebirth. And Generation 5, Age of Tomorrow. By Andy Schmidt, with lead art by Doug Mankey. They solicited it. It was going to come. Then Dan Didio was fired, and the coronavirus happened, so it was postponed. And it looks like it's been changed. Now, the other thing is, the reason why I brought up the Gary Frank variants from Dark Knight's Death Metal is that the Gary Frank variants for Dark Knight Death Metal are, in fact, the variants for this book, for Generations.
Yeah, they're just repurposing them.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Because the solicitation for the Generations one-shot said each one will have a variant cover by Gary Frank that forms one long image.
Wow.
Amazing. And there's only 3 of them, which means the last 2 weren't finished.
Well, great.
Golly gee willikers.
Yeah. The original story for Generations was teased in Flash Forward trade paperback and Wonder Woman 750. Both of those stories were going to be collected in the Generation Zero Free Comic Book Day issue. That never happened.
It's messy. That's messy.
So there you go. Generations is alive.
Let's see if it works out.
Yeah. Generations is alive. There's something happening next year as far as DC. Whatever. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I care. I mean, like, it's my whole thing of like,
it's
okay,
too early to care.
Also, just like, okay, so you got the guy who wrote the Death of Superman 30 years ago to come and write this. Like, no fresh voices. We're just gonna keep going back to the well. I love Wells.
He wrote Action Comics Rebirth also.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he sure did.
Mm-hmm.
It was good stuff.
Begrudgingly, it was good stuff. All right. Represent. Not. That's not what I mean. There is a digital first series coming out called Represent. This was coming from DC Comics. The first issue is written by Christian Cooper, with art by Elitha E. Martinez. Christian Cooper, by the way, if you don't know who that is, he is the Marvel editor who had the police called on him for asking a woman to leash up her dog. The first story that he is writing is called It's a Bird, which is about Jules, a black teenager, being given a pair of old binoculars as he heads out for a morning of bird watching. He soon learns the binoculars show him a lot more than birds, and maybe they keep him safe too.
X-ray specs.
So the editor of this book says, this digital series is designed to showcase and introduce creators traditionally underrepresented in the mainstream comic book medium. Why isn't it in print then?
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. Asking the important questions.
The first issue is free on Comixology.
Because they're willing to do it, but not at the cost of having to actually publish and produce it.
Yep. The first issue is available for free. You can get it now. You can get it.
Well, that's good though. That's nice.
We also found out through the solicitations that Batman Beyond is ending with issue 50. The guy's been on Batman Beyond for way too long.
Who's writing Batman Beyond?
Oh, I wanted to say Dan Jurgens, but I don't actually think that's it. That's who it is.
I think it is Dan Jurgens.
Okay, then it's Dan Jurgens.
Then it's Dan Jurgens.
You see my problem.
I think so. Yeah. If we want to say Dan Jurgens, then it's probably Dan Jurgens.
Sorry if it's not Dan.
Yeah, we'll blame you anyway. But yeah, I mean, this book should have been given to like some up and comer, some person who has been writing comics for 100 years.
Yeah, exactly like Spider-Man 2099 or like Batman Beyond. Like that is perfect. Like the futuristic youth. Like you don't get a guy who's 60 to write that book.
Yeah,
no,
for as long as he did 50 issues.
I mean, good for him. Like
yeah.
I don't know anyone reading that book, so I guess it sold fine enough.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Ryan. We should get younger people to write Spider-Man 2099 and Batman Beyond.
I just more than the same 3 people. That's all I care. That's all
that'd be nice.
We also found out that Brian Michael Bendis is leaving Superman and Action Comics. Action Comics at the end of 1028 and Superman at the end of 28.
So we have a poster up there that says Bendis is coming. Can we get an opposite poster that says Bendis is leaving?
I'm not deep enough in it that I'm like celebrating his exit, but I get it.
You're not caught up to.
I'm acknowledging that.
No, I know. That's what I mean. It's like that's unfortunately we were so excited.
Yeah. That was a bummer.
I was really into. I mean, when I was reading in the initial run of like Man of Steel, Action, and Superman, I was like telling myself, like, yeah, this is good, and it was like, oh, just wait, that Bendis magic is gonna happen. And then later on, when I would go to the store, the Superman books would be at the bottom of my pole, and then other books would take over, and it kept happening for weeks. And then I had a bunch of Superman stuff, and I didn't hate it. It's just I wasn't looking forward to reading.
But that's the thing.
I like other stuff.
That's the thing. Like I didn't hate it. It just didn't connect with me, and I was a bummer because I generally like Bendis' stuff. But there were so many decisions that he made that I just never got over, like aging of John Kent. Like, or
that's
like
the saddest thing that could have ever happened to that character.
I think the last issue of Superman I own is the one where Superman reveals his secret identity to the world.
Isn't he like the president of the world right now?
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's the president of the world.
Oh man,
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I saw a panel of him talking to the world like, I'm the president, I'm the best. I'm like, oh, Superman. I don't think be a president. It's not what you would do.
This is not making me happy.
First 23 Superman, sure, but he still kept a secret identity.
All right, so some FanDOME stuff happened this week.
Enter the dome.
This is kind of what I've been able to cobble together. Feel free to jump in with anything you have.
Did anybody watch any of the panels?
No, I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Really? You just hit schedule and watch video. It was so you just click on the video and see watch video.
I also didn't try very hard.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, I'm not trying to be mean. There's literally a 2-button process. Like it was not hard.
I didn't care to go through the whole motion.
I watched a bunch of them. I think they're all really good. I watched the Watchmen ones. The other history of the DC universe of John Bradley is really good. John Bradley?
Mm-hmm.
John Radley.
The Doom Patrol panel is really good. They don't talk about mental health. It's stuff really important. Both of the Watchmen panels talk about, which I'm really impressed by, talk about racial discrimination and systemic racism in the real world and in DC. So like, God bless you, Damon Lindelof and DC for allowing those to be there, because that's the only time I'll ever see DC talk about real shit like that.
Yeah, seriously.
It was really cool.
You mentioned Doom Patrol. They took the opportunity to announce that Doom Patrol has been renewed for a 3rd season on HBO Max.
I was nervous.
That app is
Thank goodness.
dead.
No. Yeah. We don't know now.
The app?
Yeah, you caught the Jim Lee thing, yeah?
No, which one? I caught a lot of Jim Lee stuff. I don't know which one.
Jim Lee put out an Instagram post where he said, "Congratulations to Doom Patrol on getting a well-deserved 3rd season. check back next week for really exciting news about the future of hashtag the DC Universe, specifically talking about the DC Universe app. So they're announcing whatever they're planning for the... Jesus.
What?
They're announcing whatever they're planning for the future of the DC Universe next week.
Watch that turn into only a comic service. And if you want to watch the great DC shows, just get on HBO Max.
That was really loud.
Young Justice.
I have no... Megan's in my room, so...
Just give me a second. You guys continue talking.
Speaking of DC Universe, Young Justice took the opportunity for... Oh, hi, K Titus. Thank you for still listening. The 3 people who are still watching this, I don't know how you guys do it. But Young Justice Season 4 has a title. Now, Young Justice Phantoms.
Oh, they actually got... Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I should feel bad or what, because I was championing the return of Young Justice, and then when I heard it was coming to DC Universe, I was like, yeah, we're getting Young Justice Season 3. I haven't watched a single thing of it.
We watched 2 episodes?
Yeah. Not because it was bad. We got distracted with other things, and we just haven't...
I love those first 2 seasons of Young... Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading Mag's comment.
Yeah.
Because I love those first 2 seasons of Young Justice. I think those seasons are amazing.
I agree.
And then when it got canceled, I was like, no, 3rd season's coming back. Yay, here it is. Other stuff. It's like, I'm like,
I mean,
oh, cool.
it's tough for you. I mean, it's tough for you because we don't have DC Universe.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's cool. It's getting a 4th season.
Man, $8 is a lot. Yeah. I know.
I mean, I'm paying for Hulu, but there are also times where it's like, do I really, really need that? Do I really? I mean, I might just wait for a DVD, Blu-ray. Who knows?
It's out.
People
the DVD,
talk.
Ben.
Yeah?
The DVD is out.
Oh, shit.
All right. So Watchmen had a panel.
It did.
And I think the biggest takeaway, obviously, Ryan said about what they talked about, but apparently Tom King doubled down on the fact that the Watchmen Rorschach comic coming out under the Black Label is in fact tied to the TV show.
So no, yes, but no.
But no.
He specifically said, "I loved your show, so I didn't write anything that would contradict your show." He said it is not a prequel to your show, but if people want to believe they're in the same universe, I did not contradict that. That's what he said. It is not tied to the show, but it is not damaging to the show.
Right.
Because he
doesn't
wanted
violate the continuity.
Yeah, he said you could read the comic and watch the show and nothing would contradict from the original comic or anything. So I think that's extra important because he's being respectful while also still doing his own thing.
He's trying to make it feel like his story takes place in the true Watchmen universe, and he wants you to feel like the show can too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, because Ryan, when he first said yes and no, he's like, yes, but no. I was like, wait, isn't that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Yeah. And
I was getting mixed messages from you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Frankly, I'm glad that he's going the route of like, I don't want to contradict it, but I'm glad he's not trying to tie into it either.
So up until now, I've been very, I don't want any more Watchmen shit. After watching this interview with Tom King, I am 100% more sold on specifically only the Rorschach comic. Because Tom King is a dude, he really likes Watchmen and he really likes Alan Moore, and he's a dude, and him and Damon Lindelof had a great talk about how like they were both offered Watchmen things that they turned down for years.
This is the only panel I watched part of.
Cool. And yeah, Tom King's like, yeah, they offered me this book years ago and I didn't want to do it because I don't want to be the guy who writes the Watchmen sequel. Like, that's not what I want to do. And then years later, he was like, you know what? Like, we're here. I'd rather be me than anyone else, which is exactly why Damon Lindelof did the show.
Real quick, this is actually a good point to bring it up. Damon Lindelof did a post-mortem podcast episode of the Watchmen podcast that came out a couple weeks ago. And he was just talking about like getting some of the writers and directors on from key episodes, and they were on talking with him about the show. And then one of the key things that he said is the host of the podcast brought up, do you think you'll want to see like Watchmen do another Watchmen show? Like you're just waiting to come up with that story. And he's like, to be real with you, I'd rather that someone else came up with a great idea and I got to just see it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I feel like Watchmen belongs to far more people than it does. Honestly, like from the day one of me starting the process, I felt like Watchmen didn't belong to me anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm starting to like, you know, it's a world like, hey, it's business is business. Like, is as much as I want art to like have some type of like, you know, like honor or respect to it. I understand you got to put a Dr. Manhattan in a Batman book. I get it. But the fact that this,
do you?
no, you don't. That's no. See, the real answer is no. But I live in the real world where shit's sad. But this Rorschach comic, like, it seems like it is a hard-boiled. It is about a detective who experiences this Rorschach event, and how like Rorschach has been gone. So who is it, and how he gets involved in the superhero world. And like, it is more. It is a Watchmen book. Like, they've already said like there are multiple characters from Watchmen who are in the book. Which why wouldn't they be? But the fact that it's about a detective in this world instead of just like a superhero guy makes me really excited about it. And it's like the few pages we've seen, like it doesn't just feel like a Black Label book. Like, it feels like, yo man, we really wanted to try something really, really different. And honestly, Tom King is the perfect guy with you know, Vision and Mr. Miracle and Strange Adventures. He is the perfect guy for that. So I'm pretty optimistic about that book, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
Superman and Lois is the next CW live action series.
Yes, it is.
We got some new information, such as the show will take place in Smallville, not Metropolis.
Also, the CW has renamed the entire universe of superhero shows to something really stupid.
Oh no.
The CW verse.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Really?
instead of Arrowverse, because Arrow's not a show anymore.
Yeah, but he's still important in the you know, you get it.
You should like just keep calling it the Arrowverse. It's
We're still gonna call it the Arrowverse.
Yeah, I'm still calling the Arrowverse. Sorry, you can't stop me.
Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing is that Superman is going to get a new suit,
Yep.
primarily because the suit that they had was only made for crossovers and couldn't sustain a whole series.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Okay.
it
And
looks
the-
really good. You can't wear it a lot.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're giving him trunks too.
Please.
and then
Yeah.
one of the other things is I can't believe they had to say this, but there will be no affairs on the show. Lois and Clark will not have affairs on the show.
I mean, I don't think they had to say it, but I appreciate that they did. I think you know where I think it stems from. I think it stems from a stigma of like
CW
and this is
drama.
True. CW drama is a lot
Yeah.
based around like love and romantic affairs and like breaking up relationships and that kind of thing. That's a key note of
Hundo.
CW shows, especially the superhero shows.
Mhm.
So the fact that they're going and saying we are not doing relationship drama with Superman, Lois, and Clark, we're not doing it.
They're just going to be like a couple. Of course,
They're going to be
yeah.
a functional couple who can have like relationship dynamic things happen, but nothing that's going to put the relationship in jeopardy.
Yeah.
I respect that. I'm glad
Yeah.
that they said it outright.
Same.
The Flash movie. We got a little bit more juicy nuggets about the Flash movie.
Oh, I didn't know there was another Flash panel.
Yeah. The director said it's going to include a lot of other DC characters. This also stems from a rumor that we heard that a lot of the stuff with Ray Fisher started when he was renegotiating to appear as Cyborg in the Flash.
Right.
So
Which makes sense because they're implied to hang out because when we see Barry in Crisis on Infinite Earths, he mentions that Vic, like, they're hanging out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
and then it's going to give the DCEU a fresh slate. It will honor what had come before and give it a fresh slate.
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
What we all expected.
Yeah.
It'll keep all the actors who are
Wonder
still
Woman's
there.
continuity won't be messy anymore. You don't have to worry about is it Snyder cut, is it not?
Yeah.
It's all don't
It's
even
moved.
don't worry.
They're saying,
Patton.
oh man.
Guys, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, because it just doesn't look like it would work. I like, you know, Pattinson being that Batman for that Justice League. Like, I don't buy it. But there was just something to think of. Like, you watch that Flashpoint movie, and at the end, it's Pattinson sitting in the chair when it was Ben Affleck, and you're like, thank you for that note. And I'm like, oh, that could work. Oh shit, I don't want it.
I just
don't
want Henry Cavill to come back as Superman.
Yeah.
I just want
So
that.
does he.
So bad.
Flashpoint.
He does too. I know he doesn't show up in Flashpoint, but or wait, he could. He does in the book and then does in the
In
anime
the
movie.
comic, yeah.
He's in the comic, yeah. But if this helps make it pave the road for more Superman films, gimme.
Yeah.
Gimme.
Right.
Better Batman Superman movie, please. Damn it.
So Jim Lee had a Q&A where I pulled some little nuggets from here. He talks a bit about 5G. Or what he doesn't say what 5G was. We're pretty sure.
I only get 4G. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We get 5G on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So apparently,
3G. What the hell?
apparently 5G is not a thing in the current publishing sphere.
Oh, really?
He says this: we really want to focus on individual titles and organically build up individual characters over the course of the next year, rather than a line-wide relaunch of what 5G was rumored to be.
Like another rebirth.
I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah. God, that would have been. Oh my God.
I can't do another rebirth right now.
Especially because what we started with rebirth was so good. And I'm like, oh, just try to get back.
You're never gonna relaunch and have it be that good again.
Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're never gonna have that many titles across a relaunch be that solid for that long.
That many good creative teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I was in the middle of Bendis' Superman run, and I got the graphic novels volumes 1 and 2 of Peter J. Tomasi's run of Superman, I wanted that more than Bendis' run. I'm still trying to hunt down those Tomasi books too.
Yeah. Then the other thing that I wanted to pull out was that he mentioned the Earth 1 line just briefly. The Earth 1 line of original graphic novels. He says it's not dead, and that they just want to make sure that the writers and artists have plenty of time to finish the products, which is why it's not on a set schedule. But they are committed to the series with more titles coming out. Could be the Aquaman and Flash ones we heard about in 2015.
Oh my God.
And that Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is in fact coming soon. We just don't know when.
We know Gary Frank has been working on art because he's shared art.
He's done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's being colored and inked right now.
Got it. Makes sense.
At least they mentioned something, because I thought Earth 1 was one of those things that DC is like, oh yeah, we have that thing. Let's put it back in the closet. We'll pull that out eventually.
And Wonder Woman. I personally got confirmation that Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 3 is coming.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Excellent.
That was funny. So that's really it that I pulled from DC FanDOME. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up?
No.
I was surprised that we got through this and they didn't announce Harley Quinn getting a season pickup.
That worries me. That really worries me.
That surprised me. I'm hoping that it will come next week.
Yeah.
With whatever the DC Universe's future plans are. They acknowledge either what's happening to the show's post. If I'm to guess, they're going to tell us that it's lowering its price. It's going to be just comics, and everything else is moving to HBO Max.
Which sucks for people who don't have HBO Max, but it's a pretty decent service and has a lot of stuff. So like, there's no reason not to have it.
And they can be more.
Yeah.
Change the whole setup so it functions better as a comic reader.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's it. So why don't we go into our book club now, if there's nothing else? All right, Ben.
Yes.
Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, so my book club is Critical Role Vox Machina Origins Volume 1, which is story by Matthew Mercer and Matthew Colville. The script is done by Matthew Colville. Art is done by Olivia Sampson. And colors and lettering are done by Chris Northorpe. Critical Role is, of course, created by Matthew Mercer.
It's by Jody Hauser. You skipped Jody Hauser. Jody Hauser is the person who actually wrote the book.
Really?
Yes. Matthew Mercer did the story.
Yeah, but doesn't have that name right here on my thing.
That's weird.
The script is done by Matthew Colville.
Weird. Did I read the wrong book? I hope not.
Which one did you read?
Vox Machina Origins or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. You guys talk. I'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, Critical Role was created by Matt Mercer, the voice actor, with a bunch of other voice actors. And they had a home game, then they did a podcast, and it blew up, and now it's this huge thing. And this book is essentially the very first adventure of Vox Machina. And as of now, the show is still going strong. They're on their second campaign.
5 years it's been running.
Yeah, 5 years.
Ryan, I'm afraid to say you did in fact read the second volume.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, yo, that second volume was dope as hell. Let me see the cover of yours, Ben. Let me see the.
That's not the cover for the issues on the thing that we use.
That's a shame, I guess.
This is the cover we had on the Instagram.
No. On the thing that we use to read comic books, my friend.
Oh, you read the right thing. I read the right thing for sure.
Oh, Jody Hauser isn't in the first volume.
I saw her name a whole. That's so weird. Okay, I guess.
Show me what you read, Sparks.
I just showed him the panels, so he read the right thing.
Go to the first page.
I know, but maybe you read the wrong.
Get the credits. I mean,
I don't have that here.
Maybe you read the wrong thing also.
Oh Lord.
because Ben, there's the original Critical Role like book, and then there's this Origins book, which is the second book.
Okay, so no. Okay, so what is collected in this is the Critical Role book, not actually called Vox Machina. It is redressed that for the trade.
So we read a different book then.
So then the four of us read a different book. Ben and I read the book that he picked, and you guys read the second volume.
If you notice that, you need to text us.
I read what was given to us. I read that book.
Perhaps we postpone to next week for Ryan and Sparks to.
Hold on. Just 1 second. Well, Ben, why don't you just talk about it real quick? Talk about this book real quick.
I enjoyed this book. I don't think this book was like the best thing, but it's the very beginning of Vox Machina. It's when all the characters because I've listened to the whole podcast, the original campaign, and at least that's when it was available on iTunes. And I absolutely love these characters. I love Grog as one of my favorites. We're missing a few key characters like Percy, which is Percival, played by Taliesin Jaffe. He's not in the first book. He's not in this volume. Or Pike, who's played by Ashley Johnson. Yeah. They're not there yet, but we'd still get Tiberius Stormwind, who was a very prominent member of the team in the very beginning. Which
Real quickly, Sparks, Ryan, your book doesn't end on a boat, right?
No.
Okay, yeah.
So we read the second volume
because I thought that's what was
because in the layout of where we read it, that's how it's set up. So it says Critical Role, then it says Critical Role Vox Machina Origins. So we read the one that said Vox Machina Origins.
Yes,
and we didn't double think it. I guess I should have thought something was weird because I was like, I don't really know these people. But I was also like, I don't watch the show, so maybe that's just how it is.
Okay, so I don't feel bad now that I also read a different book. Okay. So Joey Hauser wrote that second volume. That second volume I think is really fun and good.
Okay, I'm actually looking forward to the second volume because I saw it and I want to pick it up. I thought this first volume was actually okay. I mean, it's not horrible, but there are parts that I'm like, okay, that was a choice. But it does bring like some certain character things. Like, yeah, Scanlan would definitely do that because like there's a scene in the book where they need to dilute a curse, and the way to do it is that Scanlan starts peeing on the curse. And Stan Riegel would actually do that.
Yeah,
and throws some lines like, "Hey, here's inspiration," because there are times when they're playing the games, like, "I want to cast inspiration." Scanlan says something actually pretty funny and inspiring that helps the team. Or Grog's Travis Willingham's favorite line is, "I would like to rage," because Grog goes into a rage and fuck shit up.
Ryan, what were you gonna say?
I watched Critical Role when it first started, and then I dropped off of it. So, like, all of these voice actors, like, you guys are familiar. Half of the Avengers are these characters. She's also Laura Bailey is Mary Jane in the Spider-Man game. Like, all these people are famous people that have been in games for a decade now. So I was able to very quickly, even though I read the second volume, like, I know that I have enough memory of those characters. I also, even though I read a different volume, I really enjoyed, and I assume it's the way in the first volume, that even though this is fully in the fantasy world, it's not, the actors playing a role. They still reference stuff from the modern world. And like in the second volume, the guy, he becomes Burt Lancaster. That's
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Sorry, I keep saying
Burt Reynolds. No, because that was the actual thing.
Yeah.
In the podcast later on, Scanlan says, "My name is Burt Reynolds."
Yeah. Just real quick, I don't think you need to have a real history of this book, but I do think this is a decent, just fun, light fantasy story.
As a person who had no familiarity with anything going into it, there were definitely like, I can get on board, but I do feel like I'm missing a beat of knowing who some of these characters are because the volume doesn't do anything to tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I guess, I mean, like, you're a person. Like, I can't tell you a dick about antlers.
Yeah. I think the art's rad though. I think the art, I don't know if it's the same for the first volume, but that second, I was like really impressed with how dynamic the the faces were, and like some of the action is really good. And like Grog, is that his name? Grog?
Yeah,
Grog?
yeah. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Grog in the second volume is really good, and like he's just like a big lovable oaf who wants to fight. He reminds me of Goku actually. He's very Goku, just likes to eat and fight, but he's got a heart of gold.
He does.
I think I wouldn't be shocked, no offense to Matt Mercer, but I wouldn't be shocked if you find the second volume better written because it's written by an actual comic book writer.
Yeah, because there are times where I was reading this.
I really didn't like the layout of this book. If it got so, I don't know about the second one, but in the first volume, the first like 4 issues are just in widescreen panels.
Oh no, it's definitely not. It's a comic book.
That was a frustrating read.
Yeah.
We read the book.
We did. Yeah, we read the book. Yes. Yeah. The thing was, on the place we read these books, there's, even though it's all called Vox Machina, all the books are called Vox Machina. One of them is not called Vox Machina, so we read the one that's called Vox Machina, which is the second volume, but it's also the first volume. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you guys read that second book, because when I was reading this, and when I got to the end, I'm like, okay, this is starting to warm up to me, because after a while, I was like, this dialogue is not that good. So I'm glad you guys are saying it gets better, which makes me happy, because if you're a huge fan of Vox Machina and you love the original campaign, this is be like, yeah, it's got problems, but it doesn't totally kill it for me. But because I was going in as totally blind, because I never picked up the loose issues. I'm only picking up the trades.
Yeah, I take pictures of the
No,
stuff
you're not.
I like.
I'm totally blind. You're not totally blind. I don't even know Critical Role. So
Okay.
Brandon and I are real. I mean, like, I know it, but I've never watched it. So
Yeah,
Brandon and I are the totally blind.
It's almost funny because I think if you read volume 1, you'd probably have a better understanding of the characters, but it's not as well written as this one is. But you have to know who the characters are to get it. So
I mean, I don't have to. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like what I was going to say about volume 2 is that, which apparently is volume 2. What I was going to say originally, regardless, is that I'm impressed with how much I actually don't know most of the characters, but I'm still super invested in the ones I do.
Yeah.
I think that's well written. I really like the art. I like the world. I would follow more of the adventures to get to know some of these other characters better.
It really made me.
It's like coming into Big Hero 6 in the middle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
It really did make me wanna, because I dropped off like years and years ago. Like, it really makes me wanna get back into it, because there really is, like, they were the first people to really do like live streaming D&D.
Mhm.
But like they're all actual talented voice actors, so like they're real characters. Now it's so much fun, and I just dropped off because reasons.
Yeah. Because reading this actually kind of makes me a little happy, because when I started listening to the podcast, the first available episode on iTunes, what it felt, I mean, it's great. It was slated as episode 1, but you can tell that they've been playing this game for a while. They just now finally started recording it at a new, I guess, chapter in their campaign. So seeing what I'm assuming is when this book, like the real volume 1, picks up when all the actors finally sat down at the table and started at level 1.
Yeah.
Because in the first page of the first volume, you see all the characters from the final fight of the first campaign of Vox Machina, and all their titles, their armor, all this cool stuff. But then as the panel goes down, some characters are missing, some characters are there, and then it goes to just the two, because the first, I want to say 3 issues only focuses on 2 characters, which are the first are the twins Vex and Vax, then you get Scanlan and Grog, and finally Tiberius and Keyleth.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, after that, they all come together. It's them forming the team as it is.
There's a great thing from volume 2 where the lizard man, he's on a quest because like his friend's dying, and he's like, oh, I need to go find this thing, and he runs into like a library, or like a traveling librarian, and he's like, oh, sir, oh, you have this book. Wait, I gotta focus on my friend. How much is the book? It's just a cute little like, oh, that dude's like cares about his intelligence. Like
that is definitely Tiberius Stormwind from Draconia.
Yeah, I do think the second volume has some good character stuff, and I think the art, almost like Power Rangers, like the art like is sublime. Like I think the art is in volume 2, if it is the same artist, just really good. It helped a lot.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I mean the art in volume 1 isn't bad. I like it. Yeah. It's just, for me, there are times the writing was just like, so hearing that the second volume is a lot better just makes me happy. So cool, I can get the second volume and get a better product and enjoy it more. Because after I was reading this, I didn't know if I wanted to continue, which sucks because I love these characters so much.
I think this was a for you specifically. I think you're really gonna like it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Brandon, what'd you think?
It is the same artist.
Okay, good. I like that art a lot.
Cool.
Honestly, I don't think anything. I didn't really care for it. I have no thoughts on it. It was just so whatever to me.
Okay.
I think you actually would have liked Volume 2 a lot better.
Potentially, but I didn't read Volume 2.
I know.
But yeah.
I didn't know that's what I was doing. Frog's
All
real
right.
great.
Grog is good.
All right.
That's
well,
by the
it
Kingpin.
makes me happy. It makes me happy because I was almost not going to buy Volume 2, but hearing you guys say how great Volume 2 is, I'm like,
Yeah.
Thank God they saved it.
I might
saved it.
legitimately start like rewatching that stuff because that's fun. I like D&D a lot. I miss playing D&D.
Me too.
All right.
buddy.
So, anything else you guys wanted to bring up about this book?
No, I will say I am, having read Volume 2, I am shocked at the quality of a live streamed D&D YouTube thing turned into a comic is as good as it is. Because that's like a whole bunch of like the nichiest thing ever made. I'm like, actually, no, they got a good writer. Like, it's got a lot of personality. Art's great. Like, this is a good product.
Next week, it's Ryan's turn.
Hey, guess what? I love Iron Man. I also love Doctor Doom. Santa Claus is cool. Excuse me, Luna. So I bought this trade and it's out of print. But look how dope this is. It's called Iron Man versus Doctor Doom. Look at that cool ass shit. Yeah. This is a collection. This came out. Oh, look at that. Look at the green screen. This came out in 1994, but this is a collection of Iron Man's number 149, 150, and Iron Man's 249 and 250. They are both anniversary double issues that involve Doctor Doom and Iron Man after the new comic coming out. This is like my favorite pairing in Marvel Comics. That Bendis run is all about this shit. And this is arguably one of the best Iron Man runs, because there's not that many, of David Michelin and Bob Layton. And they're like the premier Iron Man team. So I'm very excited. These are some old school comics. Can't wait to read some goofy Doctor Doom.
Yeah. All right. So next week, it's going to be more comics, more Marvel comics, as we start our discourse on X-Men. The Don Hickman Dawn of X. We did House of X, Powers of X. Now we're doing Dawn of X.
So for three of us, that's not that much homework. For Benjamin, my man, that's like a lot of issues. That's like you're the one doing homework this week.
Yeah,
my man.
so we very quickly should find out what series we're focusing on.
I'll text you tonight. No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mag.
Thank you, Mag. Yeah, so we will be discussing all of the current X-Men books. We'll be breaking up into 2 different sections, so we're not talking about 100 issues in one sitting, because that'd be bananas.
That would probably turn into a summer podcast.
I mean,
I know what you're dreaming, Ryan, but we gotta go sleep sometime.
Not on Sundays, no thank you.
Okay, so that's that. So look forward to that. We also have other shows on this channel. If you're watching the live stream or if you're watching the replay, check out our other shows on this channel. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel because you can find our Fake Nerds Watch series on Lovecraft Country. Episode 4 is up now. You can also find that in the link in the description. That show's really great. Check out our after show where we talk about it in depth. We all had the same fan theory this week. Feeling pretty good about that. We'll see what happens this week.
Find out this soon.
Basement Arcade. Hey, Avengers is out. Check that one out. But there's other Basement Arcades coming. Stay tuned for all that. And we have our Fake Nerd Book Club, which we are currently going through Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The next volume, the next one is volumes 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
I got there. And the annuals. So check out that show if you are so inclined. You can also support us on our Patreon, where we got our tiers. You can support our TeePublic, where we got a bunch of cool shirts up there, other cool merchandise, not just shirts. And you can buy our Fake Nerd Podcast masks. I did the math. We only have 8 masks left. We did pretty good on the masks.
Good job.
So definitely, guys, stay safe out there. Get yourself a mask. If you want to support us, get yourself a Fake Nerd Podcast mask. We appreciate it. All the links are in the description below, and you can find them all also on our website at www.fakenerdpodcast.com. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who's been watching the stream. Thank you to everyone who watched the live thing. Thank you for 100 YouTube subscribers.
Yay, thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you to Jeremy Belushi for our theme musics and our intro music, if you're listening to this on the audio. You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards. He also does a podcast called Suburban Proctologist, where you can find that on iTunes, Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, or Instagram at SubProc Podcast. It's a very funny show he does mostly on his own. Music, voice acting, really great. 9 episodes are up now. Check it out. We also thank Mike Matola. Mike, he's a wonderful collaborator. He did our logos for Fichtner Book Club, Fichtner Podcast, and Miscellaneous. You can find him at Mike Matola on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at Fichtner Podcast, FichtnerGuys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at BenMagnet27. Sometimes I also stream on Twitch, which is also the same thing, BenMagnet27. And I write for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com. Did not put a new article up this weekend, but one will go up soon.
Sparks?
You can find me reading too many books at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
Ryan?
Hey guys, I'm DJ Tony Snark everywhere, and I'm just going to be here marveling at how just dope this cover is. Look how dope that is. Oh my god, they got swords, exo swords.
All right, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So like and subscribe this video, this channel. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. And I forgot to set it up.
Probably should wore the shirt next week, huh?
Maybe. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Until next week, guys, stay fake nerds.
Yo. Yeah. Fear is the mind killer. Doom 2021. West Side? Dude. Don't be a dick, dude.
Seriously, don't be a dick.
Polish ladies on a ruckus. Don't be killing. Looking feckus. Like a snap, y'all.